I'm Kenneth Woodson, board chair, and we will open this hearing of the Illinois Board Review for today, uh, May 9th, 2024. This is a formal hearing, so from a preliminary point of view, I just want everyone to know that you should conduct yourselves as if you were in the courthouse. So that means please be sitting up, no reclining in your easy chair or in your bed. Please be dressed appropriately. No hats for men, no eating, no smoking while you're in the hearing. Also, these hearings are being recorded by a court reporter as well as the system itself, which means that every voice has to be recorded. So please allow whoever's speaking to complete their thought, then you may respond. The reporter cannot record two voices at the same time. Everyone will be given an opportunity to state their case, and we want everyone to have a fair hearing. The final thing is that the law department will be asked to give us a list of matters that have been resolved, and some of them will be listed as moot or moot complied. If your case is listed as moot or moot complied, that means it's done. You don't have to sit around for anything else today. The matter has been resolved. If you choose to stay with us, that's fine because this is a public hearing. If you need information as to what the distinction between moot and moot complied, please call the office. There's a phone number on the communications that you received. Call that number and they will explain to you the difference. We have about 75 cases listed today. We need to get through all of them. And so we don't want to be delayed unnecessarily by lots of questions that can be resolved via a conversation between yourself and the administrator's office. Again, uh, we want everyone to have a fair hearing. So we will move forward as quickly as we can to get through all the cases and so that everyone can be heard and that we can render a decision. Thank you very much. Okay, we will now hear from the law department, who will give us the list of cases that have been resolved. Oh, I'm sorry, my apologies before you do that. The board itself will introduce itself and then we'll go to the law department. Again, I'm Kenneth Woodson, board chair.
Steve Pettit, board member.
Roger S. Tennant, senior board member.
Ben Washington, board member.
Sherry Borkessel.
Mr. Wade?
Richard Wade, board administrator.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's it. We'll hear from the law department.
Good afternoon, Amy Skiles on behalf of the law department this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Skiles. What do you have for us?
All right. Beginning with number 1, HA 2023-005278, 1223 Walnut Street. The appellant is George Karagianis. That's the appellant's request for a continuance, and the city does not oppose.
Okay. Do you know if legal counsel has been secured for this matter?
That I'm not sure. The appellant just called me yesterday and said he was unavailable for today.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll continue. Noted as continue.
Number 4 on the list, HA 2023-002337, 900 Ontario Street. Daniel Moore. That's the appellant's request for a continuance, and the city does not oppose that request.
Okay. We'll note it as continue.
Number 8, HA 2023-002086, 6104 Hegerman Street. The appellant's Andalasia Munoz. That's moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 11, HA 2023-002210, 7508 North 20th Street. The appellant's Franklin Ryan. I believe that has been continued already to July 18th.
Yes, we noted as continued. Thank you.
Number 13, HA 2023-002282, 3601 South Broad, Philadelphia Beltline RR Company is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 14, HA 2023-002287, 6142 Lansdale Avenue, Rainforest Property 3 is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you. And that's Lansdowne Avenue, I believe you said.
Yes, Lansdowne Avenue, I apologize.
Okay.
Number 15, HA 2023-002289, 6142 Lansdowne Avenue, Rainforest Property 3, is also moot complied.
Thank you.
Number 17 through 23 is the same appellant, Mr. Tulio Oliveira. That's a continuance that the city does not oppose. I can read all of the appeal numbers into the record.
Yes, that would be, just read the last 4 digits of each one, please.
Yes. So 4616 for a violation at 505 Cobbs Creek Parkway. 4618 2237 North 33rd Street. 4619 2227 North 33rd Street. 4620 2233 North 33rd Street. 4621 at 2229 North 33rd Street. 4622 2223 North 33rd Street, and 4626 2235 North 33rd Street, and 4627 2239 North 33rd Street. Yes, this is a continuance request and the city does not oppose.
Okay, note the mess, continue. Thank you.
Okay, that brings me to number 44 on the list, HA 2023-002209, 607 Glenview Street, Ivana Barron, that is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Number 45, HA 2023-002242 at 1302 North 18th Street. The appellant is Russell Nikan. That is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Number 46, HA 2023-002251 at 2311 to 2313 West Sargent Street. The appellant's Enoch Jerome, that is moot complied.
Thank you.
Number 47, HA 2023-002253 at 1040 Pine Street. The appellant is Benuel C. Zook and Martha G. Zook. That is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Yes, number 48, HA 2023-0027, sorry, HA 2023-002279 at 5636 Montrose Street. The appellant Lisa Humphrey, that is moot.
Moot, thank you.
HA 2023-002291, 3715 Mimi Circle. The appellant's Michael Joshua, that is moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 50 on the list, HA 2023-002301 at 5147 Westford Road. The appellant Cohen Anglia, that is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Number 51 on the list, HA 2023-002310 at 6247 West Passyunk. The appellant's Richard Nyo, that is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Then moving on to number 53 on the list, HA 2023-002405 at 1934 North Oriana Street. Jose Carpena Jr., that is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Number 56 on the list, HA 2023-002542 at 935 East Rittenhouse. The appellant's Iboro Umana, that is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Number 57 on the list, HA 2023-002549, 2247 North 16th Street. The appellant is Jessica Roberts. That is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
Number 58, HA 2023-002644, 1523 West Indiana Avenue. The appellant is Nancy Lynch. That is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 59, HA 2023-002673 at 9235 Frankfurt Avenue. Bing Dang, that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
Number 60, HA 2023-002723 at 4231 Regent Square. The appellant Dan Christofferson, that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
HA 2023-002779, 23rd and Oregon Ave. The appellant Ezell Barnes, doing business as Zogies. That is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
Number 62 on the list, HA 2023-002828 at 7960 Rugby Street. Ivan Pauline, that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
Number 63, HA 2023-002829 at 2839 West Clearfield Street. The appellant Gregory Bullock, that is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 64, HA 2023-002893 at 4818 Parish Street, O'Neill Hall, that is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 65 on the list, HA 2023-002962 at 7828 Devon Street. Chris Alexi and Paulina Poblano, that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
HA 2023-002990 at 1412 Yerkes Street, appellant Daniel Jacobs, that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
Number 68 on the list, HA 2023-003233 at 1935 North Oriana Street. The appellant Jose Carpena Jr., that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Okay.
Number 69 on the list, HA 2023-003293 at 5547 Torresdale Avenue, Giovanni Cortez, that is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 70 on the list, HA 2020-001274, 2843 North Watts Street, Carl Scatena, that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
Number 71, HA 2020-001387 at 1037 Folkrod Street, Arsen Kashian, that is moot.
Moot. Okay. Thank you.
Number 72, HA 2020-000179 at 4348 Freeland Ave, Knock Tran, that is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 73, HA 2021-002098 at 839 East Chelton Ave. The appellant Robert Walton, that is moot. Number
Moot. Okay. Thank you.
moot, yes. Number 74, HA 2021-001424 at 4723 Salmon Street. James Brandenberger, doing business as Richmond Partners, that is moot complied.
Moot complied. Thank you.
Number 75, HA 2021-004191 at 3710 North Broad, Sharon Mays, that is moot complied.
Moot compliant. Thank you.
Number 77, HA 2024-001448 at 5923 Lansdowne Ave, that is moot.
Moot. Okay.
Yes. Number 78, HA 2023-001449 at 5923 Lansdowne Avenue. The appellant is Aaliyah Hashim, that is moot.
Moot. Okay. Thank you.
And that concludes the preliminary list. I believe some of my colleagues have some additional matters to address.
Okay. As usual, we'll respond to the raised hand signal. Mr. Jim Kelly.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Jim Kelly on behalf of the city. I have number 16 on the list, HA 2020-003-562 900 Packer Avenue, Antonio Peretta.
Yes.
I'm not sure. There's an attorney, Michael Davis. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether he's on the call or not. We would be just requesting a continuance. We're in settlement discussions on this case.
Okay. Mr. Davis present. Mr. Davis, Michael Davis. Okay. Is this considered a city's request for continuance or a joint request?
It can be the city's request. We're pretty close to a resolution. Just need to get things finalized.
Okay. We'll note it as continued.
Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. Ms. Caitlin Carmody. Caitlin Carmody, my apologies.
Okay, good afternoon, board. Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city. I have number 52, HA 2023-002386 at 2719 Conley Road. I have spoken with the attorney on this case, Mr. Andrew Felton, who I believe is on the call today, and we had agreed to continue this matter.
Okay.
I am on the call, and yes, that's my understanding as well. Thank you.
Okay. Please identify yourself.
Andrew Felton for the respondent.
Okay. All right. We'll note it as continued. Thank you.
What number was that?
Number 52.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
You're welcome. Okay. Mr. Leonard Reuter.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Leonard Reuter for the city of Philadelphia. Regarding case number 6, HA 2023-002349, I just wanted to confirm that the attorney for that case, Mr. Benjamin Picker, had submitted a letter to the board withdrawing this appeal.
Yeah, it was noted in executive session that this matter has been withdrawn.
Okay, and then also with respect to number 12 on the list, HA 2023-002252 for 902 North American Street. I believe actually I saw Michael McElhaney, attorney for the appellant here. He has requested a continuance that the city is not opposing.
Okay, we did review that. We wanted to hear on the record. So the city's position is not to oppose it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's being resolved. So.
Okay. All right. Based on that, we'll note it as continued.
That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Jeffrey Cohen.
Good afternoon, members of the board. As a preliminary matter, number 3 on today's docket, which is HA 2023-001221, PASP LLC. The appellant had requested a continuance. The city opposed, but I thought as a preliminary matter, the board would like to deal with this first.
Okay. Is anyone representing the appellant present? I know there's a legal counsel involved.
I see Mr. Kleinberger, appellant's counsel, but he is still muted. Give him one moment.
Okay.
Hello, Richard F. Kleinberger III for appellant. I'm actually in front of Judge O'Neill, Montgomery County. He let me out on break at 12:15. I'm supposed to be back in 4 minutes ago. That's why I requested this. It was supposed to be listed at 9 a.m. Judge O'Neill's list got moved to 11:30 initially, and I asked him if I could be heard earlier. He tried to, but I have not yet been heard. So I'm in the parking lot of Montgomery County right now.
Okay. Well, this is the second time this is.
I understand.
And so we aren't, we don't like having to continue these matters. There's no one else in your firm who could make this go?
The only other person was Mr. Michael Calda, who is prohibited from doing it due to court rules because he works for the First Judicial District of PA. I could try signing back in around 3. Will you still be on around 3?
It's very likely we will be on about 3. Yes.
I could try signing back in then if we're still there. I tried.
Okay. Let me ask Mr. Cohen, are you ready to go today?
Yes, though I would add that my witness supervisor, Kenneth Paralak of the Audits and Investigations Unit, has a hard stop at 5 p.m. For a
Okay.
doctor's appointment.
Well, let's do this, Mr. Wade. Let's do this. Let's call this matter again at 3 o'clock, and then we will determine at that point whether we proceed. Okay.
Thank you, members of the board.
Just let you know if it's 3:05 or whatever, I'm running back into the courthouse. I should be done by 3, but I just want to give you a heads up. Might be a couple minutes when I run back out because I'm parked across the street. Okay.
Understood. But
Thank you.
you want to get this resolved as quickly as possible.
Okay, I'll run back in and I'll come back out. Thank you.
Okay.
I would say it's one remaining issue, but these cases are numbers 25 through 41 on today's list. They are all filed by appellant Atia Grooms. I was wondering if, as a preliminary matter, the board would like to address the procedural issues that could be dispositive before getting into the merits. And if now was an appropriate time to do that, or put that off.
Yes,
until later.
I think there's a long list. Of course, there's a long list of them. Actually, Mr. Cohen, I want to come back to you
Okay.
because given there's no blanket decision to be made. Apparently, that each one may have to be heard on its own. So, and also I want to know if Mr. Sean Whalen is with us today. Do I see his image or name anywhere?
I don't see him in the participants of this call.
Okay, so
and there is no Vintage Law, which is his firm is named Vintage Law on the participants list.
okay, was it an expectation from him that this would be automatically continued or something?
No, the last that I heard was when I think 2 days ago we were discussing potential settlement, but we weren't able to reach an agreement. So it was my understanding that we would both be appearing today to handle these matters.
Okay, we'll come back to you then and see what we may need to do after we get through the other preliminary matters, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. I have Lopez Thompson. Mr. Thompson, which matter are you muted, sir, but which matter are you inquiring about?
On HA 2020, good afternoon. I'm here on HA 2023-2138, and I'm requesting to find out who the city solicitor is, as I haven't been contacted.
Which address is that?
It is Stella Street, 1000 Stella Street.
1000 Stella Street.
Chairman Woodson, that's me. This is Jim Kelly from the Law Department.
Okay. Will be probably appropriate then for the two of you to have a breakout room to discuss this matter then.
Correct.
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Wade, can you make that happen?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Roder, you had an additional question? Matter?
Yes, I just wanted to indicate that there are a couple other inspectors that might have to leave early. One of the inspectors, an inspector on one of my cases, Mark Green, has to leave at 3:30. So
Okay.
that
Let's do
would-
this. For those kinds of matters, get to Mr. Wade, the administrator, and as we will try to accommodate that issue
Sure.
as we could call the cases.
Okay, will do.
All right, we'll do it that way.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else representing the law department have a preliminary matter? Okay, I see. Well, let's see here. Okay. The board itself has several matters, but okay, I have two individuals. Andrea Salmon.
Good afternoon, Chair. I just have a quick question on a matter I didn't hear called Mark Moot. It's HA 2021-004191,
The address?
3710 North Broad Street.
Okay.
I think it may have been heard at an earlier hearing, but we had an
Well,
order for today.
that's 2237 North Broad Street. North Broad Street. Okay. Who's handling that matter for the city?
I apologize, I don't have it before me.
Just,
Chair,
it
that's
was,
number 75 on the list.
yes, 75, that was read into the record. Appellant Sharon Mays, that is moot complied.
Thank you very much. Apologies, I missed it.
No
Yeah,
problem.
okay. All right. Thank you. Miss Kristen Pask.
Good
Yes.
afternoon. Good afternoon, board. I wanted to raise as a preliminary matter number 9. This would be moot because of standing. I don't know if you would like Chairman Woodson to address this when you call the case, or if you would like me to raise this issue now.
This is one of the matters that the board has a question about. So since you're with us, let's address it presently.
Okay, I
Okay.
do see the appellant on the call. This was a failure
Well,
to
before you
provide-
do that, I need Mr. Wade to read it in so we can
Of
have
course.
everything connected. Mr. Wade, read that in, please.
It's case number 9, hearing appeal ending 2143 7960 Bayard Street. Serena Putman.
Okay. Is there anyone present representing 7960 Bayard Street or Serena Putman present? Ma'am, you're muted
Yes, I'm here.
and you are.
Hello, good afternoon, Serena Putman.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth to help you God?
Still help me God, yes.
Thank you. Okay, there's an issue here with standing. And the city, Ms. Pasha, why don't you raise the issue from your perspective, please?
Yes, Chairman Woodson. So this notice of violation is for a failure to provide reports. A plumber, in this instance, Shaunton Puntner, was issued an SVN for not uploading a report after doing work. The SVN was issued to the plumber at his address. However, it is my understanding after conversations with L&I that a second copy of the SVN was also sent to the parcel where the work was done, in this case, Ms. Putman's house. The SVN was not issued to Ms. Putman. I do see that she appealed, but because she's not responsible for this SVN, we would argue that there is no standing here.
Okay. Now, Ms. Putman, do you understand what was just said?
Yes, sir.
So essentially, you don't have standing to raise the appeal. Your plumber is the one who's responsible here.
Oh, he wasn't my plumber. I didn't purchase the house until after this work was done. This was before I bought the house.
Okay,
So I
so
don't
the plumber in question is responsible for the violation.
Okay.
And has to pay the fine. It's SVN, which means it's an issue at. It was a matter at issue at that time, and there's a fine that is not appealable to the board of review.
Okay.
Have you had any conversation with that plumber?
I don't know who he is. This
Okay.
was prior to me buying the house. I don't know what work was done.
Okay. Okay. So in this case, then I can appreciate your desire to make sure everything's clear. Ms. Paschal, is there any issue in terms of the outstanding SVN regarding the property itself? Is that something that the current owner has to be concerned about?
Chairman Woodson, no, I don't believe so. Following my conversation with L&I, I believe that they just sent an additional copy of the SVN to Ms. Putman's address, but it should follow the contractor, and he is the one who's responsible for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So in this case, this matter would be determined as moot for lack of standing. So we won't be hearing your appeal today, Ms. Putman, but rest would appear to me, and based on comments from council, you don't have anything to concern yourself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, but don't get rid of that notice, okay?
Yes.
Hold on to all the paperwork in case
Yes,
this thing
sir.
comes back again. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Thank you, Ms. Passion.
Thank you, Chairman Woodson.
Okay, is there anything else, anyone, before I review the matters that the board has that it requires some clarification? Okay, let's go back up to item 10. H 2198, 1000 Diamond Street, Carlos Barrero. Who's handling that matter for the city?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Jeffrey Cohen. I will be handling that for the city.
Okay, Mr. Cohen, it appears that this is a limited partnership and legal counsel is required to represent the appellant. Is anyone here representing 1000 Diamond Street? Anyone here representing 1000 Diamond Street? Carlos Barrero. Anyone present? Okay, Mr. Wade, do you have anyone in the waiting room or on the board anywhere?
I don't see anyone in the waiting room under that name. Mr. Barrero listed 1000 Diamond Street as his address, and service was sent to 1000 Diamond Street on March 15th, 2024.
Okay. Alrighty. Mr. Cohen, what is your preference here?
I think the expedient thing, the city would request a failure to appear.
Okay. Mr. Petty, can you give me a time, please?
1:30 PM.
1:30 p.m. Alrighty. We'll pull the board on HA-2023-002198, 1000 Diamond Street, Carlos Barrero. City affirmed non-appearance.
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 Oh, thank you. Mr. Patton.
Good
Thank
afternoon,
you.
Chairman.
Good afternoon. Okay, let's move on to let's quickly check my list here. The 67. This is 3083-7401 Edmund Street, EDMUND. And the appellant is 7401 Edmund LLC. Who's handling that matter?
Good afternoon, Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city.
Okay, good afternoon. Anyone present representing 7401 Edmund LLC?
Yes, Mark Tarnoff?
Mr. Tarnoff, are you an attorney?
No, I'm not.
Okay, this is an LLC that requires a lawyer to represent you before this board. Your relationship to this address and this issue?
Yes, I work at the facility that's here. I represent them for stuff like this.
You represent which company?
For 7401 Edmund Street LLC?
Okay. Did you receive the appeal document? I mean, the violation document itself?
Yes,
Did you review it?
I reviewed it, yes.
Did you note on it that it says that if you're corporate ownership, you must have an attorney representing you at these hearings?
We're representing ourselves for it.
You didn't, did you just hear my question, sir?
Yes, I did, but.
It says that if you don't have that is not an option. If you are a corporate owned entity, you must have a lawyer representing you at these hearings. So we're going to continue this matter so you can hire a lawyer.
Okay.
Any response before we sign off? Any response to Ms. Carmody?
No, I was going to raise the issue, but the city rests.
Okay, thank you. All right. So this matter we've noticed continued. Already. Let's move on. Number 76. 1494. And this is 2654 South 10th Street. Stephen Galasso, Galasso. Who's representing the city?
Thank you, Leonard F. Reuter for the city of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Is anyone present representing Stephen Galasso?
Yes, Mr. Console is their attorney. He's here.
Oh, okay, because that was the issue that we were raising. Oh, okay, sir. I can barely hear you, and I certainly can't see you.
Yeah, you can't see me. I didn't think we were being heard till the very end, so I'm driving to my next destination.
Okay, but at this point, you are legal counsel for 2654 South 10th Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all we needed to resolve preliminarily. Okay.
Thank you very much. Bye.
All righty. Okay, thank you. All right, now let's go back up then. Mr. Cohen?
Ready, members of the board?
Yes. The issues begin at number 25. And Sean Whalen. Mr. Whalen present? Mr. Whalen.
Okay. Is there anyone present, Ms.
Yes.
Grooms, or anyone present for these appeals?
Tia Grooms is the appellant on matters number 25 and through number 41. Anyone present representing the interests of Tia Grooms? Okay, and Sean Whalen is noted in our record as legal counsel. Mr. Cohen, any conversation with
Yes, as I mentioned before, think 2 days ago, we exchanged emails. We were unable to reach an agreement on these matters. And it was my understanding that we would be appearing here before this board.
Okay. Mr. Wade, anything in the record that the board has received that would suggest that this matter was not to be heard today?
I have no email correspondence with Mr. Whalen or Ms. Grooms. Notice was sent to Ms. Grooms, the address of 1936 Washington Avenue. That's the listed address on the appeal. That was sent on March 19th, 2024. Notice was sent to 49 St. George Road, Ardmore, PA for Sean Whalen, 3/19/2024. He was not the attorney of record when the appeal was filed. He was, I believe, added later, but the address that we sent for him was 49 St. George Road.
Okay, and that's number 25, appeal ending in 5261, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We also have a timeliness matter here because the according to our records, the notice was 6/17/21 and the appeal did not occur to 1/3/23.
If the board wishes, I can flesh that out a little.
Okay, but before we do that, I guess because we have a whole series of cases here with the same appellant, and it appears that no one's present. And so I'm wondering whether the prudent thing would be to address the issue of lack of appearance rather than any defects of the matter. So
I think that would make sense.
okay. So Mr. Lopez Thompson, are you related to this matter? You have your hand up.
No.
Oh, okay. Would you mind changing that? Take that raised hand sound down, please.
I got it.
Okay, thank you. So let's do it this way then. And let me check with my legal counsel. Mr. McSherry, lack of appearance of the appropriate approach here. Is there another approach to this group of cases?
I believe that's the appropriate approach, Mr. Chairperson.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And this is going to be a little tedious, but we got to do it anyway. Mr. Wade, if you read off the address and the last 4 digits on the address and confirm service, we will then take the vote on each one as we run through the list. Okay.
Number 25, hearing appeal ending 5261, 2201 Washington Avenue. Atia Grooms. Service was made to 1936 Washington Avenue, as well as 49 St. George Road, Sean Whalen, on March 19th, 2024.
Okay, Mr. Petty, would you give me a time, please?
1:38 p.m.
1:38 p.m. Okay, we'll poll the board on HA 2022-005-261-2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms, city affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance. City affirmed non-appearance.
And before you do that, never mind. Go ahead. Please proceed.
Case number 26, hearing appeal ending 0204, 2201 Washington Ave, Atia Grooms. Service was made to 1936 Washington Avenue, as well as 49 St. George Road for Sean Whalen on March 19th, 2024.
Okay, so we confirm service. I'm wondering that I must disrupt this just for a moment. We have a series of cases with this appellant all at the same address. The address has changed when we get down to number 39. So what I'm going to propose that we do, Mr. McSherry, is that we take one vote on the Washington Avenue matters, and then we take separate votes on the other matters.
I have no issue with that.
Okay. Mr. Cohen, any objection?
Of course not. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So what I'd like to do then, Mr. Wade, is that I think you just read in number 26.
Yeah.
Okay. Read the last 4 digits of everything that's associated with 2201 Washington Avenue.
Yes.
Okay.
Case number 27, hearing appeal ending 0205, 2201 Washington Avenue.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I don't have a determination for 26. I do.
We haven't done it yet.
25.
We haven't done it. We haven't done it. We're going to do 26 through 38 together.
Right, but he just read off 27.
I read 26.
No, you only read 25.
Okay, let's do this so that the record is clear. Start at the last four digits of 26 and read through everything associated with 2201 Washington Avenue.
Case number 26, hearing appeal ending 0204, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses.
Okay, read all the others.
Case number 27, hearing appeal ending 0205, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. Case number 28, hearing appeal ending 0206, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. Case number 29, hearing appeal ending 0207, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. Case number 30, hearing appeal ending 0208, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. 31, hearing appeal ending 0209, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. 32, hearing appeal ending 0210, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. 33, hearing appeal ending 0211, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. 34, hearing appeal ending 0213, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. 35, hearing appeal ending 0215, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. 36, hearing appeal ending 0218, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. 37, hearing appeal ending 0219, 2201 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. And 38, hearing appeal ending 0221, 2201 Washington Avenue.
Okay.
Administrator, don't forget hearing ending 224. Number 41 on the list.
And case number 41, hearing appeal ending 0224 Washington Avenue, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, thank you. Already. Give me a time, Mr. Pettit.
1:43 p.m.
1:43 p.m. We're polled to board regarding the matters previously noted regarding 2201 Washington Avenue. City affirmed non-appearance.
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 Thank you very much. Just one moment. Just one moment. Okay, let's go back now to 39.
Case number 39, hearing appeal ending 0222, 2330 Sampson Street, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses. And case number 40, hearing appeal ending 0223, 2330 Sampson Street, Atia Grooms. Service was made to the previously mentioned addresses.
Okay, Mr. Cohen, what's your preference?
City would respectfully request a city affirmed for failure to appear.
Okay, Mr. Pettit, what time do you have?
1:44 p.m.
1:44 p.m. Thank you very much. We will poll the board on those matters related to 2330 Sansom Street, Atia Grooms. City affirmed non-appearance.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly, members of the board.
Okay, I think that resolves that matter, Mr. Cohen. And the other matter, we will call at 3 o'clock.
Thank you.
Okay, already. Mr. Wade, what do we have next?
The only request for a to be moved up was case number 76, and that attorney was, the opposing counsel was in a car. So we can start at the top of the list for now.
Okay.
If I think that was Mr. Reuters' matter, if he wants to be in contact with.
Sure,
then
I
you
can
let us know.
Yes, I will reach out to Mr. Console, who can probably hear us now. And he can let me know when he's ready to go forward. I do have another matter.
Yeah, I'm here. I'll be available in under 10 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks.
I do have another matter I wanted to raise an issue with. I wasn't sure if the board was going to raise it or not. That's with appeal number 7 on the list, HA 2023-002064 for 5523 Jane Street.
Yes.
The city believes that there's a timeliness issue involving this case. I know the attorney, Ms. Margolis, tried to reach out to me yesterday. I wasn't able to respond because I was tied up all the day, and I called and there was no answer. But the problem the city has with this case is that the violation was issued in 2021, and this appeal was not filed until 2023.
Okay, what was the date in 2021?
If you just give me a moment, the original violation was, sorry, the original violation was issued November 23rd of 2021.
Okay. And when was the appeal?
The appeal was filed April 5th, 2023.
Okay. Is Ms. Margolis present?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Margolis, you muted, ma'am?
Yes, I am here.
Yes. Ms. Margolis, the city is raising an issue of standing before we decide whether to hear this case today. Any response to that?
Well, other than the response to the merits, no.
Well, we need some argument as to why it's late. The 30 days is generally the window that you get to appeal a violation notice.
Tamika, would you like to address?
There's an echo, by the way, Ms. Margolis. I'm not sure why. But
What?
We have an echo every time you speak.
Oh, I'll speak. My client can explain regarding the appeal.
Okay, the client is
My name is Tamika Green, and I'm the respondent, or however you call what I'm doing.
Speak up.
Okay, if we can't hear you, you could barely hear you, ma'am. Ms. Green.
Okay. My name is Tamika Green.
Okay, and would you raise your right hand? Would you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter to be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, now before we proceed, ma'am, I noticed someone else is sitting next to you.
That's
You
my
can't.
husband.
Okay, are you going to be the spokesperson in this matter?
Spokesperson in this matter? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we have some connectivity issues here.
Mute. Mute. You. Yeah.
Okay, so that what I just want to say to you is that the two of you cannot engage in conversation while you're trying to testify because it creates a considerable amount of confusion, and the court reporter can't take down more than one voice. Okay.
Okay.
And so if there's a need for you to have a conversation, you have to mute yourself, talk, and let me know. Now, we may or may not proceed with this case, but preliminarily, we need to hear from you in terms of why it has taken you, goodness, over a year to appeal this matter.
Okay. So, basically, when I got the notice, I initially heard it from the tenant, that other neighbors had received this notice on this wall. When it was brought to my attention, I had no clue that there was even a wall on the property or near the property. You know, when we purchased the house.
This is not on the merits. You're only addressing why we filed late.
Why was I late? Okay, so basically.
Ms. Green, let me say this to you. If you read the violation notice, it gives you 30 days to file an appeal.
Yes.
This is years late.
Yes, it is. I mean, I guess the whole issue was when I did like a little digging and understanding of what was going on. To my understanding, the wall needed to be done as a whole, and the price that was attached to what needed to be done, it scared me, and I didn't know what to do. So I did drop the ball. I don't have any other excuse other than I basically felt helpless with the situation.
And now, is this an investment property for you?
Yes,
Your address that you have submitted to the city for correspondence regarding this property is what?
it's my home address.
So you did receive notice.
I did receive it after, yeah.
Okay. All right, Ms. Rod, any?
Oh, I could say. Is that she only received a notice from a tenant?
No, she just responded that she also received notice directly.
But how long, what was the date?
It was a couple of weeks after she.
Now, Ms. Margolis, you understand now, we can't have this kind of conversation without her being put forth as a witness. So are you in the same space? Is that it?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. All right. I'd like to hear from the city. You're muted, Mr. Router.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, the city's position is that, again, the initial violation was written back in November of 2021, and we've heard Ms. Green essentially, concede on the record that she understands that the appeal was filed late. The subsequent final notice doesn't trigger a new round of appeals. The appeal has to be taken from the initial notice, not from the final notice, because again, the whole point is that you have 30 days to either comply the violation or get started or to file the appeal. It doesn't get triggered every time you get another piece of paper from the city. So the city believes that this matter is the appeal was filed far too late, by almost 2 years, at least a year and a half late, and that we would ask the board to dismiss the appeal for lateness.
Okay. I'm going to do this. Given the uniqueness of this issue, I'm going to ask the board to join me in executive session before we come back and tell you what we're going to do, how we proceed. Understood? So we're going to go off the record for a few minutes and we'll come back to you. Just please be patient with us. Mr. Wade?
Can I add one thing before
Yes.
you? Yes, and just so it's clear, the specific the final violation notice that they attached to the appeal specifically references the November 22nd, 2021 violation notice and required them to that gave them until December 27th of 2021. So that's even on the final notice itself indicates what the original dates were. And you
Okay.
have, that's part of that's actually attached to their appeal.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to take a short executive session, come back to you. This is regarding HA-2023-002-064-5523 Jane Street, Tamika Green. Based on the information that's been presented to us, we have no choice but to look at this as a matter that's beyond our authority. So we're going to dismiss this for untimely appeal. We don't have authority to hear anything that's far beyond the 30-day window.
If I could just,
Yes.
if Ms. Margolis wants to reach out to me, not today or tomorrow, I'm tied up, but next week, I can discuss the matter a bit more. One of the things that they indicated in their appeal is that Ms. Green was responsible for the entire wall. That was incorrect. Every property owner on both this block of Jane Street and the rear properties on Godfrey Street received the same violation notices. So everybody was in fact equally responsible for the damage for repairing the wall. I can discuss that with Ms. Margolis, and also the possibility that because this is in the 8th district, they can reach out to Councilwoman Bass regarding a program that she had in the 8th district for
Okay.
retaining walls. So,
But for this matter before us today, the appeal will be dismissed for lack of timely appeal.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Green. That's unfortunately where we are today. Your attorney can, of course, provide a further assistance as required. Thank you, everyone. You excuse for today's hearing. Thank you. Before we move on, I have a hand raised by Miss Daisha Robinson. Ma'am, are you an attorney representing the client today?
No, I'm not. I heard my address being called and I was told to be here, but I didn't hear my name. So I do have prior arrangements. I just want to make sure it's okay for me to exit without being.
What address are you?
5923 Lansdowne Avenue.
Yeah, that matter. The resolution has been listed, and we asked that everybody pay close attention. So, in fact, you could hear that. That matter is considered moot.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Now,
in the violations,
ma'am,
Chairman
it's
Woodson,
moot.
if I may, this is Jim Kelly on behalf of the city. This is one of my cases. I can provide Ms. Robinson with my email address in the chat, and she can reach out to me, and I can follow up.
Let's do this. Actually, Ms. Robinson and Mr. Kelly, if you guys could go into a breakout room, that's better for us.
Absolutely.
Okay. Ms. Robinson, and I'll remind everyone else at the beginning, I said, please pay close attention because we don't want you breaking into an existing hearing in progress. So please do that. If you have questions regarding what's moot or moot complied, please call the administrator. Thank you. I have, before we get started, I have a Ms. Letman, you're muted.
Yes, I didn't hear my name or my address.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to you yet. Just be
Okay,
patient.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank
Okay.
you.
All righty. Okay, Mr. Wade, what do we have next?
There was a quick update. I see that I believe the council for number 50, I believe council for matter 76 is back, but prior to that, for matter 5, Mr. Lopez Thompson wanted to put something on the record.
Wait a minute. Who's representing the city in this? 1000 Stella Street?
That's Mr. Kelly's case. So he's currently in a breakout room.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, you'll have to be a little patient till Mr. Kelly is available.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. All righty. Then I guess we need to move on to, 76. Mr. Wade, or was there another matter?
I seen the attorney just joined. I don't know if he's ready to go forward.
I had expected Attorney Reuter and I to speak in a breakout room, as was discussed earlier.
Okay, well, let's do this then. Mr. Wade, if you could put Mr. Reuter and Mr. Consul in the breakout room, that would be.
My client come with me too, because he's.
What's the name?
It's Stephen, where you at, Stephen?
I would also ask that you.
You talking about Stephen Glasgow?
Yeah, Stephen Glasgow. Yes, he can join you.
Mark
Yes.
Green as well.
And
Mark Green
also,
as well?
yes, Supervisor Mark Green as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so the 4 of them will go into a breakout room. Okay. Given that, Mr. Wade,
Let's go. Stephen
Where are we?
Glasgow was the last, right?
yeah, the Supervisor Green, Glasgow,
Got
and
it.
the 2 attorneys.
So that brings us to the top of the list then.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just so I can catch up, did we continue number 3?
Till 3 o'clock.
It's
The
3
3
o'clock. We're
o'clock.
going to call it again. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, let's go to number 2 then.
What's going on, bro? You know, journey, you know.
Mr. Washington? Yeah, thank you. Okay, call number 2.
Case number 2, hearing appeal ending 4497, 6628 Lotus Road, Samira Richards Hammonds.
Who's representing the Water Department?
Good afternoon, board members. This is Melanie Nezich for the City of Philadelphia Water Department.
Good afternoon. Anyone present representing 6628 Lotus Road? Samira Richards Hammonds. Samira Richards Hammonds. Anyone present? Okay, no one's responding. Mr. Wade, would you kindly confirm service, please?
This matter was continued from February 29th, 2024. Mrs. Richards Hammonds listed 375 Fairfax Road, Drexel Hill, PA. Service was made to that address for this hearing on 3/15/2024.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Nezich, what is your preference?
The city would ask that you would affirm the city and deny the appeal for failure to appear.
Thank you. Mr. Pettit, what time do you have?
2:09 PM.
2:09 PM. We will then poll the board on HA-2023-0044976628 Lotus Road. Samira Richards Hammonds, city affirmed non-appearance.
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 Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, number 5, I think, is probably Mr. Lopez Thompson and Mr. Kelly's
Yeah. 3 and
resolution.
5 are still on hold.
Yes, 3 is still on hold until 3 o'clock.
And 5 is on hold until Mr. Kelly gets out of the breakout room. That brings us to number 42.
Okay.
And before you call that, may my witness be excused, Chairman?
Yes, my apologies. Witness may be excused.
Thank you so much. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Case number 42, hearing appeal ending 2646, 737 Walnut Street. Agupol Contractors LLC.
Okay. Who's representing the city?
I believe it's Kristen Paschal, and she's probably in a breakout room right now with the client. I just talked to her.
Okay. If she's in a breakout room,
I
let's,
think she's in a breakout room with this appellant, correct? Is that right, Ken?
Yes.
All right.
okay, let's put it on hold and move down the list.
Okay. Case number 43. Hearing appeal ending 2197, 5283 Glenlock Street, Paul Hanlon.
Good afternoon, Amy Skiles on behalf of the city for this matter.
Okay. Anyone present representing 5283 Glenlock Street? Now, we did receive communications, Ms. Skiles, from the appellant indicating requesting a continuance. Are you aware of that?
I was not aware. I did email the appellant the city's exhibits. I did not get a continuance request, but if he did make that to the board, I would have no objection.
Okay, Mr. Wade, just for sake of clarity, what is the record that you have regarding the continuance request?
I gotta look.
Yeah, if you could take a look at that.
The chair, I thought preliminarily we spoke on it and it was mute.
I don't have this listed as mute, number 43. It's 44 is moot, complied.
This is gonna
Yeah,
take.
Mr. Chair, we have it listed as requested continuance on 4-3.
Pardon me?
Yeah, in executive, we spoke about it being continued for requests on 43.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that was a formal request in writing from the appellant. Surprised that Ms. Scalzo doesn't have it. That's why I was asking for that. Mr. Wade, if you have that, would you forward that on to Ms. Scalzo, please?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll take me a second to find it.
So we'll note it as continued. Okay, thank you. All right.
Chair, may I
Yes,
get a 5-minute break?
Yes, let's see what we have here. Just 1 second. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, we still have a panel. Myself, Mr. Patton, and Mr. Pettit, and Mr. Tennant. We're good. Mr. Wade, I think we should be down to number 54.
Case number 54, hearing appeal ending 2484, 1537 Rowan Street, Niquita Letman.
Jeffrey Cohen for the city of Philadelphia.
Afternoon, Mr. Cohen.
Afternoon.
Anyone present representing 1537 Ron Street, Naquina
Letman.
My apologies, Naquana Letman. Ms.
Oh, Ms.
Letman?
Letman, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, okay, there you go. Good afternoon, ma'am. If you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn, do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give will be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, are there any city witnesses?
There is. I'm just making sure that he is available. There he is. Martin Higgins, inspector with the Community Life Improvement Program.
Okay. Inspector Higgins, are you parked in your vehicle?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand to be sworn, please?
Sure.
You swear and affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Just one side note. We will come back to Mr. Kelly and Mr. Lopez when we finish this matter. I know they have a
If I can
resolution
make
to
a
put on the
preliminary,
record.
sorry.
Yes, please.
So most of the facts in this matter are not going to be under dispute. There were weeds that were growing along or slightly outside of the rear fence of Ms. Letman's property. And that fence abutted an alleyway, a private alleyway between a couple of properties. But this does hinge on a relatively old legal concept from common law, something I found case law going back to the 1880s for. I've included some of those cases in the city's exhibits packet. But essentially, if you're a property owner and your property is adjacent to a street or alley or way, your title of your property actually extends to the middle of that street or alley or way. And that the only exception to that rule is if it's a private street that has been blocked off and is no longer acting as a street, which is not the case here.
I'm sorry. It is a private.
Oh, ma'am, no.
Oh.
He's putting on his case, and after he finishes, then you can put your case on, okay?
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Well, no, that's, I'll cover it again in closing, and I have actually included
Okay.
a Commonwealth Court case from 2023 showing the law is still in effect, and it's still being used for this purpose. But essentially, that's the legal issue at the heart of this.
Okay. All right, so please proceed with your witness, sir.
Thank you. Has Inspector Higgins been sworn?
Yes.
Yes.
May I please share my screen?
Yes.
All right. Inspector, can you see the city's exhibits packet that's currently on the screen?
Yes.
And could you please tell the board how long you've worked for the Community Life Improvement Program?
I've been an employee with the city of Philadelphia for going on 26 years, working with the CLIP program for 18.
And in the course of your duties for CLIP, the Community Life Improvement Program, have you reviewed the records for 1537 Ruin Street, RUAN?
Yes.
I'm going to
Yes,
go
I have.
now to, thank you. I'm going to go now to what's been marked Exhibit C1. What is this photograph that I have on screen?
So that is the rear of 1537 Rowan Street. And the overgrowth.
Sorry, specifically, are you talking about these wooden picket fence posts that we see in the photo?
That is correct.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yes, the inspector issued the violation for the overgrowth at that point.
And just for the sake of the record, is the overgrowth the stalks and I guess stems that we see in the foreground right in front of that fence post?
Yes.
So what is to the left of the fence?
To the left of the fence would be a blacktop driveway and then houses.
And does this driveway actually connect to a city street?
That connects to I want to say it's not.
Well, if you don't remember the name of the street, is it a city street that it connects to?
Yes, I believe it's Griscom Street, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And I'm going to scroll down to the next exhibit, just marking for the board. This is the deed to 1537 Ruin Street. You can see the recorded with the City of Philadelphia Department of Records stamp in the upper sort of right-hand corner. All the highlighting in the document is not in the original. I've added that for emphasis, just to show, well, the first highlight is the extension of the property line 97 feet to the alleyway, 13-foot wide alleyway. And then the second highlighting is together with free use and privilege of the said 13 feet wide alley that sits behind that fence. And this is Exhibit C2.
Okay.
Now this is Exhibit C3 on page 7 in the packet. Inspector, what is this exhibit?
This is the notice of violation that was generated by Inspector Ike, I believe.
And what is the cited violation in this notice?
The cited violation is for weeds in excess of 10 inches in the rear along the fence line.
And is this a document that that CLIP keeps in the ordinary course of its business?
Yes, it is.
And is this something that is part of the inspector's duties to inspect and then enter the information that goes into this document?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Inspector. I would also point out, I'm not going to read the full opinions, but I have put the opinions here of Ron V. Hess, a 1954 Pennsylvania Supreme Court case. And just, I've highlighted.
Okay, I'm sorry, so would you spell that? You said Ron, R-O-N or
Yes.
R-A-U-N?
R-A-H-N V. Hess, H-E-S-S, 106 A Second, Atlantic Second, 461. It's a Pennsylvania Supreme Court 1954 case. And specifically highlighted here, it is settled law in Pennsylvania that where the side of a street is called for as the boundary in a deed, the grantee takes title in fee to the center of it. And then down here on page 17, which is Exhibit C6, is Commonwealth v. Gary, G-A-R-R-Y, 304 Atlantic 3rd or A3rd 46. It's an unreported Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court case. And basically in this case, the owner was claiming that a retaining wall that sits on the property line was not fully his responsibility, but that retaining wall that property line sits against a city street, and part of the rationale was that his property title actually extends to the middle of that street, so it fully encompasses the retaining.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, and if Ms. Letman wants to cross-examine.
Yes, I just want to know if you had completed your review, Mr. Martin.
Yes, I have.
Okay, Ms. Letman, please unmute. Do you have any cross-examination for the inspector based on his testimony?
My only question is how often are these citations made, or how long do you give a person to correct the violation?
Okay, response?
The Community Life Improvement Program is complaint driven. So when we receive a complaint, we will go out to the address that is being complained about, do an inspection of that property, but we'll also do inspections of the other properties just to see if there's any other violations that are present. You will then get a notice of violation that gives you 14 days to comply that violation. On the violation, it actually gives you the phone number of the office that you can contact, as well as the inspector who issues the violations email that you can contact. We are not we're not strict where we'll grant what we would consider extensions to comply the violations, so that the city doesn't have to take a means of action to abate that property.
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. Letman?
Are there notices before the property is abated?
Yes, it's the notice that you receive in the mail that says you have 14 days to comply the violation. There's also verbiage that says if you do not comply the violation, the city will comply the violation for you and issue what's called an abatement bill.
Okay, so are those still the same rules even if an appeal is filed?
So I don't have knowledge of when this appeal was filed. I just know that the violations were issued in May of 2023. And then the city went out, I believe, 2 months after that, and an abatement was done.
I can just state for the record, based on the stamp that is on the appeal, which is Exhibit C4 in the city's packet, it was received or stamped received on June 1st of 2023 by the Board of LI Review.
Okay, so there's new information that was just presented by the inspector regarding abatement. That was not part of the record before. So when was it abated by the city?
I believe it was in August.
Of what year?
2023.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other witnesses, Mr. Cohen?
No, just very brief argument.
Okay, Ms. Letman, please share with us your understanding of what's going on.
So I began receiving violations in May of 2023. I was not aware that it was the outside of my fence that was the cause, which I filed an appeal because there was like a lot of stuff that was dumped back there. So a lot of the weeds and stuff is growing it from contract dirt that was dumped back there by whomever before I even moved. I was told when I filed the appeal that
Something happened, ma'am. We can barely hear you now for some reason.
oh, I'm sorry, one moment. Can you hear me now?
Barely. Your volume went down to less than half.
Okay.
I think your headphones died.
Yeah, your headphones may have died, so you may need to remove your headphones.
Yeah, give me 1 second so I can disconnect them. Okay, can you hear me now?
No.
Oh, it's still my headphones. Okay, one moment. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So originally when I first got the violation, I filed an appeal almost immediately, like within the first week or so. I believe I got the violation on May 18th, and I filed I filed the appeal that same week. I was told that I would have a year before I would have to respond because I would have to come to a hearing. I did go back there and cut the weeds several times myself, but I didn't know like how often they came out so that I can keep it cut down within that time period that I was getting these violations for. And then in August, I'm sorry, not August, September, I got 2 violations in September, one for $300 and then one for abatement. I assumed because I did the appeal, that they weren't going to come out or abate the property. In addition to that, I was cutting the grass back there every week once I got the first violation. And it just seemed like right before I was going to go out there and cut the grass, I would get another violation. And then it seemed like I was getting numerous violations back to back. And I was under the impression that once I filed the appeal, that I shouldn't be getting any more violations, and then I would have time to argue the fact that a lot of the dirt and stuff that's back there is from people dumping. In addition to the fact that the driveway is not attached to my block. And I do understand that it is the whole idea of 13 inches out, but at the
13
end of
feet out. 13 feet.
13 feet out. Even still, there's another property across the way that would cut the 13 feet off. That's number one. Number two, this was originally a public street that was being used, but there's some type of mechanic shop at the end of the block that blocks the driveway with all of their cars that they're selling. So it's not a public driveway where people can freely go through because the auto mechanic shop is using it on one end, and then on the other end, which is Griscom, all the residents that live on that block whose houses are actually connected to that driveway use that driveway to go to their garages and their parking areas. So well, the first thing is I don't feel like I'm responsible for it because it's not a public driveway where it's freely anybody can go through it. The second thing is I should not have continued to receive violations after I filed the first appeal.
Okay. And I guess, have you spoken with anyone in the office regarding this? The
I
appeals?
spoke to a council person, And
I'm sorry, council, you mean the city council person?
I'm sorry, not a city council person, a representative.
I'm not sure what that means.
Uh, state representative. I believe
Okay.
it.
But have you spoken to anyone in the Department of License and Inspections?
Oh, no, sir. I went down here originally to file my appeal. That's the extent of my conversation.
Okay, so you haven't gotten any direct information as to what would happen regarding future violation notices once you file the appeal?
They told me that I wouldn't be getting any violations. And they
Yeah, I'm
told me
asking
that
you, who told you that? Who told you that? And when did
the
they tell
young
you?
young lady that filed the original appeal. I went down to the L&I offices and she filed the appeal, and I asked her what the process would be. And she said, once you file the appeal, you have a year. You shouldn't receive any more violations until you've actually gone to the hearing.
Okay.
That was the information that I was given. Which is
Okay.
why I was surprised about why I would continue to receive violations.
Have you appealed the other violation notices you received?
I'm not sure. I believe so. Around that time, I was having issues with my devices being hacked. So I'm not sure if the appeal went through or not. I did, like I said, I spoke to a representative about it because I couldn't get in contact with anybody at the at L&I, and then somebody told me that I should contact Clip, and I couldn't find a number for Clip either. So
Okay. All right. Mr. Cohen, any cross-examination?
Yes, just one question. You'll forgive me just one moment.
Sure.
I'm putting on my screen the exhibits that the appellant, Ms. Letman, submitted. Ms. Letman, is this document the abatement work invoice on screen? Is that what you were talking about the second violation notice?
Yes, that was the second one that came.
Okay.
And then I'm not going to say that the gentleman didn't cut the grass in the back, but I saw them cutting my neighbor's grass when they were out here. So I was confused as to why I was receiving this notice when I seen them in my neighbor's yard cutting their grass.
All right, well, I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you very much, Ms. Letman.
Sure.
I actually do have, if Ms. Letman is finished, though.
Okay,
make
just
sure
want to
that she
ask.
is. I do have one more question.
Okay.
Follow up for Mr. Higgins.
Sure. Ms. Lebman, do you have any witnesses yourself today, or any other information you'd like to put on the record?
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cohen.
Yes, if I can recall Inspector Higgins, who is still
Yes.
under oath. Inspector, you said in cross-examination that there was an abatement that was done in August of 2023. Was the condition of the weeds that we saw in the photo from May of 2023 similar to the condition in August of 2023?
Yes, and I'm not sure, but I did send pictures because I went out recently and the conditions were present when I just went out for this hearing.
Right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I
Mr.
have
Cohen?
nothing further, but if Ms. Letman has any follow-ups.
Yeah, I would ask that had you planned to introduce any recent photos for the record, Mr. Cohen?
No, but I'll get to that in my closing.
Sure. Okay. All right, Ms. Letman, before we get to the point of voting on this matter, do you have any final comments to make before Mr. Cohen makes his final comments?
Well, I do have some photos now that I think of it of the property that I took after cutting it several times.
Okay.
If
Now
I
you
could
do
submit-
understand though, two things. Did you submit those photos for today's hearing?
I did not.
Okay. The second thing is that as a homeowner, and particularly during wet weather, you may have to cut the grass every week or twice a week in order to keep it under control. And as has been testified earlier on the record, that the property you're responsible for things beyond your fence line. And so everything that's on, even regardless of who did it, you were responsible for it to clean it up. That's an unfortunate circumstance, but that's the way the law works. Mr. Cohen, any final argument?
Before you finish, I just wanted to add that, in addition, after I got the first notice, I was cutting the grass once a week back there. That's why I asked how often they come out, because every time when I'm about to go cut the grass, just like I cut the grass yesterday and I cut it last week, it seems like right before I'm about to cut the grass, they come out. If I don't know the schedule or how they're going to come out, how do I know how often that I'm supposed to cut the grass if I'm already cutting it once a week?
Well, I think the standard is the grass can't be any higher than 10 inches. I think the standard was mentioned earlier. So if you, long as you keep it below that standard, then you should be fine. The other option would be for you to use chemical to kill the grass, to kill those weeds, so they don't come back at all.
It's not the weeds is not the issue. The issue is somebody dumped construction dirt back there, a mound of it, as you can see.
The city does object to relevance at this point, just because the issue at this case is just the weeds.
Yeah, it only matter that the city is citing you for the weeds. But as I said earlier, though, ma'am, unfortunately, as the property owner, you're responsible for moving that stuff, whatever was dumped by whomever. It still, unfortunately, becomes your responsibility. And to a larger extent, you and your neighbors may want to get organized together to try to keep the alleyway clean as a community, and to tell the person at the end of the block who's blocking the entrance to move his vehicles. That could be a whole nother set of violations that the city would address. But Ms. Cohen, you had final argument.
Yes. Before I do, though, Administrator Wade, if I could ask you to please email or forward the email that I sent a couple of days ago with the city's exhibits packet to each of the individual board members, so that the board members have at their disposal the Ron v. Hess case and the Commonwealth v. Gary cases that the city mentioned previously.
The board members were sent those.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll take a closer look at that. Thank you. Okay.
So this case does hinge on a very long-standing piece of law that I don't expect an average citizen to understand. That's fine. Not everyone are lawyers. Not everyone is a legal nerd like some people. But the law is clear that if your house adjoins or abuts a property, a way, a street, or an alley, if your property line sits on the side of one of these, then your title does extend to the middle, and you are responsible for stuff that happens on your part of that way or street or alley. In this case, it's a 13-foot wide alley, so that's 6.5 feet worth into the alley. And it is clear, and I'm going to share the photo on my screen if you'll bear with me.
Okay.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
No, man, not in the middle of his closing argument.
Okay.
So it's clear from this photo that the weeds in the photo are within that 6.5 foot space behind this fence line. And this particular growth of weed, or this length and the height of these growth of weeds, is not something that can recur within a mere 3 months. So the timeline that we're looking at is from May 17th, when this photo was taken, to August of 2023, when CLIP did its abatement. And you heard from Inspector Higgins that the weeds were in substantially the same condition, meaning that there was no cutting or clipping of these weeds by August of 2023.
That's not true.
Now, I would like to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I would like to make this jurisdictional differentiation. So this board is empowered with deciding whether violations exist, whether they're affirmed, whether an appeal is sustained, whether an order needs to be modified or vacated. But when it comes to abatements and those bills, that falls under the jurisdiction of the Tax Review Board, which is why the city did not include the abatement bill in its exhibits packet, because that's not part of this board's jurisdiction. What the question before this board is, did these violations exist from May of 2023 to August of 2023? And if so, if that's a city affirmed, then that necessarily means that the city's abatement action, the bill would be Ms. Letman's responsibility. But that, again, matters of the bill are appealable to the Tax Review Board. That's a completely separate jurisdictional area I don't want to wade into, and I don't think this board wants to wade into.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Letman, we're prepared to vote. Is there something final you want to add before we do that?
I just wanted to add that basically that unfortunately I didn't submit the photos, but I have several photos that I did cut the grass in between that time. But other than that, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, thank you. We will now poll the board on HA 2023-002484, 1537 Ron Street, Naquani, New. I'm mispronouncing this, so I'll read it. I'll spell it Naquawna, Letman, City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Okay, thank you very much. The unanimous vote is city affirmed. Ms. Letman, that means that you've lost your appeal. You may appeal our decision. If you need information as to how to do that, you should call the number on the decision letter, and it will give you information that you will need to appeal our decision. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, members of the board.
Okay, alrighty. Let's go back to I think Mr. Kelly and Mr. Lopez Thompson.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Could you put me back in service, please?
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, let's hear from Mr. Kelly first, I believe. Mr. Kelly, which matter is this?
I was in a breakout room. I believe this is for number 5, ending in 2138 for 1000 Stella Street.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I was in a breakout room, so I'm not sure what has been presented.
Oh, nothing has happened with it. Mr. Thompson led us to believe that the two of you had an agreement you wanted to put on the record. So I believe that's how I understood it, Mr. Thompson. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
I'm sorry. Actually, we are requesting a continuance because in our breakout room, I was advised by Mr. Kelly that he had sent discovery to the board as well as myself this past Monday. He sent 2 emails. I looked through my threads. I only saw 1 email. And then he did send the 6:13 p.m. email from Monday. I had an opportunity to review it, and still it only shows 6 pages. 2 are admissions forms. There is 1.
Okay, well, I guess the issue is now, because I'm looking at, this isn't number 5. Then what address is this?
This is 1000 Stella.
Just one moment. I'm looking at the wrong form here myself, so I just wanted to make sure. Yes, my apologies. I had the wrong form myself. Okay. So this is a request for the appellant for continuance. Mr. Kelly, are you opposed to that, or what's your position?
Yes, I just want to be clear. This is not an agreement for a continuance. The city is strongly opposing a continuance request in this case. I understand that this is a first listing. However, I'm happy to share my screen if necessary, but Mr. Thompson and I had emailed last Thursday. I had gotten a response on Thursday. I followed up on Friday and again twice on Monday during the day, and then on Friday Monday evening at 6:13 p.m. I emailed the board as well as Mr. Thompson with the exhibits in this case. Mr. Thompson is correct. They are very short. It is the notice of, this is a short dumping case. It's 2 copies of the notice of violation that were sent to the same, 2 copies of the same NOV sent to 2 different addresses, a screenshot from the video and the code section for short dumping. Also included on there was a video clip. It's about 6 minutes in length. My intent was to show about a 1-minute total of that video today that I made accessible to Mr. Thompson and to everyone else, Mr. Wade, Ms. Alfred, Mr. Richardson, and Mr. Motto, who were copied on that email. So the city is very strongly opposing a continuance.
Mr. Thompson, is there any reason why you aren't prepared to go today?
I never received, and I looked at my string of emails from Mr. Kelly. The first one was on May 2nd. I did reply to him indicating that we could talk the next day, which would have been Friday the 3rd. I never received, or I never saw the ones on this Monday in the evening. Now I look back and I saw that he did send out emails to the board at 5:13 I never received the one an hour later with the video clip or any other exhibits. And besides, even today, I haven't seen a video clip.
So,
Members of the.
wait. Mr. Thompson, you're saying that you have not received the list of items that Mr. Kelly has put on the record. You have not received them at all?
I had today
When did you receive them?
when we were in the breakout room.
So you just got them during the hearing.
That is correct.
And so the email that Mr. Kelly has noted that he sent to you did not receive that.
That is correct. I did not receive that on Monday at 6:13 as he indicated.
Well, when did you receive it?
In the breakout room.
And so you didn't receive that
Chairman
email.
Woodson,
Yes.
If I can clarify, I had sent this email, and again, I'm more than happy to share my screen to show the date stamps. I don't know if the board would want that, but
No, we don't need that. The issue is whether or not we should consider
Understood.
that.
I sent this email Monday, May 6th, 2024 at 6:13 p.m. to 4 individuals associated with the board, and then to Mr. Thompson with the exhibit packet at the top, included as an attachment. Again, it's a 7-page exhibit packet. And at the bottom, there's a link. I indicate in the body of the email that there's a video. I made that video publicly accessible. That's included on that email. I sent that at 6:13 p.m. 3 days ago. I had emailed Mr. Thompson 3 times with no response last week, and I'm not trying to impugn anything. I'm just stating what happened.
Okay. So let's look. I'm asking the questions. So in this instance, Mr. Thompson, I just want to make certain that in fact you're saying on the record you never received that May 6th email with the discovery, if you will, for today's hearing.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, we're going to end this now. I'm not going to continue the argument. We'll continue this matter. It's on the record. I would suggest that everybody have a conversation at some point to make sure we're ready to go the next time. So let's move on to our next case. Okay. So we're going to note this matter, 1000 Stella Street, as continued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Wade, what would be next?
Okay, we would be on 76, but briefly, I don't know if there might have been a resolution to be read for case number 42. I don't know if they're back in the breakout.
Okay, let's, who are the attorneys involved?
Myself and Leonard.
Good afternoon. That's myself, Kristen Patchell for the city.
Okay. And who's the opposing counsel?
So Chairman Woodson, there is no opposing counsel. I did speak with Christian Santiago, who is a member of the LLC. He does not currently have an attorney. However, we did reach an agreement.
Oh, okay. So is that an agreement you prepared to put on the record?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe he is on the call currently.
Okay. Who is that person? Please
His name
speak
is-
up. No one is speaking up. So
Hello, how you doing?
Good afternoon.
okay, sir, give us your name and if you turn your video on, please.
Hi there.
Okay. Your name?
Christian Sanchez.
Okay. Alrighty. But Mr. Wade, read that into the record, please, so we can get the settlement on the record.
Case number 42, hearing appealing 2646, 737 Walnut Street. Agupol Contractors LLC.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Ms. Christian, I understand that my apologies. Ms. Paschal, got too many cases. There's a settlement you want to read into the record?
Yes, Chairman Woodson. So the settlement for this matter, which relates to appeal number HA 2022-002646 and CF-2022-027561, is for a city affirm with a fine of $1,750.
That's 1,750?
That's correct, Chairman.
Okay.
And this will be due within 30 days.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Christian, you just confirming that agreement?
Yes, we agree on that.
Okay, thank you very much. So noted for the
And-
record.
Chairman Woodson, I will type that up, have counsel or have the appellant sign it, and I will send it to the board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You are excused. Ms. Paschal, unless you have other matters, you're excused as well.
Have a nice afternoon, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Wade.
All right, so that should bring us to case number 76, hearing appeal ending.
I don't. Yes, please.
Hearing appeal ending, 1494 2654 South 10th Street, Stephen Glacio.
Okay. Alrighty. Counsel, please put your name on the record, please.
Thank you. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter for the city of Philadelphia.
Thank you. And who's representing the appellant?
It's Mr. Console, who is here. Mr. Galasso is here also.
Mr. Counsel, okay.
I'm here.
Okay, you were muted, sir, so that's fine. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was just on a call with the councilman's office about this project. I apologize.
Okay. Alrighty.
So I also have Supervisor Mark Green, who is here.
Okay. You wouldn't break out any resolution to be announced, or we're going to proceed with the hearing?
I think we'll proceed, but we just want to clarify to the board that this is a very limited hearing. What today's hearing is about is this is an expedited hearing on a notice of intent to cease that was issued by the department. And in addition, just to clarify, though, we are not seeking to cease the establishment, which is basically known as Oregon Steaks at 10th and Oregon. We are seeking only to cease the Sidewalk Cafe. So, and I'll just kind of set this up. So what happened was during COVID, during the pandemic, as you may recall, the city offered a lot, was very, very lenient and actually offered special programs that allowed certain food establishments to either have sidewalk cafes or in some instances streeteries, and that because this, for a certain period of time, the city was not allowing people to congregate indoors, or if they were indoors, they had to be a certain distance separation requirements, et cetera, et cetera. So they were they allowed a number of places to have temporary sidewalk cafes. So in this instance, and this was really only learned just after having discussion in the breakout room. So in this instance, a temporary sidewalk cafe permit was issued, or license rather was issued to 2654 South 10th Street, to the Galassos, again, doing business at Oregon Steaks. That was issued November 9th, 2020. And like all of these temporary sidewalk cafe licenses, that expired February 28th, 2023. So under the Philadelphia Code, section 9208, which covers sidewalk cafes, there's a certain number of locations in the city where you can get a sidewalk cafe just by applying for the permit, and then that's reviewed by the streets department, which checks for clearance to make sure that it's ADA compliant, that it's not too close to a hydrant, that it's not going to obstruct pedestrians. That was originally only 3 or 4 locations in the city. That's now been expanded to 20 different locations in the city where you can get a sidewalk cafe by permit, as opposed to not being allowed to have it at all. This location is not on the list of 20 areas where you can have a sidewalk cafe by permit. So what that means is that in order to allow the encroachment on a public right-of-way, you need to have a private interest ordinance, which again, that's also covered by 9208, which discusses, that once you get the private interest ordinance, then you would also still need to get the license from the Department of Licenses and Inspections, because we have to make sure that, again, that when you actually set up the tables and chairs, that it's not going to be obstructing. So in this instance, they have in fact reached out to Councilmember Squilla to seek to start the process of getting a sidewalk cafe permit, a sidewalk cafe ordinance for this specific location, but that's not happened yet. So in the meantime, because the city believes that it's not likely that a sidewalk cafe ordinance for this location could even be introduced before September, we would like to proceed again, just with the question of the cease of the sidewalk cafe, I believe technically it's sometime early next week, but practically speaking, tomorrow is actually probably the last day that you're going to be able to get any, like in this case, it would need to have city planning review it, to get a review for any new bills to be introduced before the end of this current council session. So that it's not going to be until September 5th at the earliest that we think it could be introduced. Now, that being said, if they were able to get this introduced by tomorrow or next week, then that would resolve it. That would at least open the door for them to be able to get the license, and then that would legalize it. But in the meantime, we'd like to proceed with the cease. So I'm just going to very briefly have Mr. Green just to
Okay.
verify. So Supervisor Green, if you could just state your name and your title for the record.
And I will need to swear him in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, also.
Mr. Green, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I affirm.
Thank you. Place your hand down. Okay.
Thank you, Supervisor Green. Could you just state what your title is for the record?
I'm Supervisor of Code Enforcement, South District, License and Inspections.
Okay. And how long have you been with the department?
I've been with the department 7 years.
Okay. And in the course and scope of your duties with the department, are you familiar with the location or the business operations at 2654 South 10th Street?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And you heard what I was, my preamble just now. Did you?
Yes.
Okay. So you'd agree that this is the place that's known as Oregon Steaks?
Yes.
Okay. And again, in the course and scope of your duties with the department, did you learn of there being violation notices issued to the property?
Yes. At the very beginning, my inspector, which is not here at this time, that's why I'm testifying, reported to me what was going on as far as the expired sidewalk cafe license at the time of inspection. And I basically directed her to write the zoning violation, well, the license violation for the expired sidewalk cafe license, excuse me.
Now, again, it's the city's position that the other violations are not the subject of today's hearing, but so I'm going to just show you a document if I could briefly share my screen.
Yes, please.
Thank you. All right. Have you seen this before?
Yes.
Okay. And what does this picture depict?
This is 2654 South 10th Street, Oregon Steaks, and it's depicting the outside dinery, the outside seating.
Now, what we're talking about here, just so we're clear, is we're talking about, I don't know if you could see my cursor arrow, but we're talking about the blue benches, is that right?
Yes, yes.
And how many are out there?
3.
Okay. And again,
Double-sided.
they're right, so they can have seating on both sides of that. Now, as a result of the, I'll just call it the pandemic era license that was issued for this, that since that expired, have they obtained a new permit or gotten an ordinance to authorize a sidewalk cafe?
No.
Okay. So on the basis of that, is it your position that this sidewalk seating is not lawful?
Yes.
Okay. And that it currently is an unlawful encroachment of the public right of way?
Yes.
Okay. So, and as a result of that, the city is seeking to just cease the sidewalk seating, just these benches, is that right?
Correct.
So they just have to remove the benches, basically?
Correct.
Okay. And we are not currently seeking to shut down the business or shut down the cheesesteak shop or anything like that?
No, not at all. They have a current food license, and the violations that are interior are not ceasable offenses.
Okay. Now, just out of curiosity and anticipating that the board may have a question about it, these two traffic cone thingies.
Yes.
Yeah. Are those part of or do we know who put those up?
I will figure the streets department, but I don't know.
Okay,
Be
all right.
true
So
for
those
what
are
you-
not really part, as far as
No.
we know right now, that's not part of the violation, right?
No.
No, yeah, okay, so that's it. I have no further questions for Supervisor Green.
Okay, okay, sir, do you have any cross-examination?
I guess just
Mr. Counsel?
briefly, Supervisor Green, as far as you're aware, during the time of this temporary permit or after, have there been any complaints, or is this process just part of the duties of your department in terms of seeking compliance for these various cafes?
Well, my inspector was out there for a complaint about the oven hood in the fire alarm panel and other complaints within that one complaint she went out to.
And this was generated as a corollary to unrelated complaints.
Yes, pretty much.
All right.
And when we go to the property, we have to address the whole property.
All right. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you.
I have no further witness.
Okay, Mr. Counsel, do you have any witnesses you'd like to put on?
I would Stephen be interested in testifying? We understand this is quite limited. I just wanted to
Well,
make-
I mean, it's your case to put on. It's your choice
Yeah,
as to who you call.
right. Well, things sort of shifted a little bit in my thinking after speaking with the inspector and Attorney Reuter. So I'm not certain that we really have any sort of case to
Okay.
contradict anything
Mr.
here.
So what I would do, wait. What I would do then is just ask for closing arguments from both sides, if you have any closing. Mr. Tennant, yes, before they do that?
Yes, I have a question for Supervisor Green.
Yes, please.
I just want to be clear, Supervisor Green, that the cease pertains strictly to the 3 double-sided benches, correct?
Strictly to the benches, sir.
Okay, and the cease will be enforced to remove those, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And that if testimony I heard, the introduction from Councilmember Squilla for a private entrance ordinance is not passed in September, it will not be allowed to place those benches back out there?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
You're
thank you. Mr. Counsel, do you have any closing argument before we ask Mr. Rauter?
No, just that my client was operating under what he believed was a permit that had continued, and once he had received notice, he expeditiously hired folks to both to prepare and submit plans, as well as seek approval from the councilman's office, which we did get a letter of non-opposition, which is in Attorney Reuter's possession at this time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rauter, any closing argument?
No, again, I think there's really no dispute at this point that the outdoor seating is not currently permitted and that they do need the private interest ordinance. We're happy to see that they've started that process. I think it's unlikely that they could get that a bill introduced before the end of this council session. I mean, technically there's a few weeks left, but as a rule, they usually need to have bills introduced. Usually they want to have a couple council meetings before they actually vote on it. So, but if they can get it in, that's great. And once that bill is introduced and passed, then they can get the license and this all becomes moot. But in the meantime, we would ask that the cease be affirmed and that they have the benches removed. They'll also, of course, have a right to appeal any decision of this board.
Okay, thank you.
In the
We'll
meantime.
pull the board on HA-2024-001494 2654 South 10th Street, Stephen Galasso, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Let's see, Mr. Washington, you're muted.
City affirmed.
City Okay. affirmed.
60,
Right.
I'm not finished. City affirmed 60-day stay of enforcement.
Okay, Mr. Patton, your vote city affirmed?
City affirmed.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the vote is, just want to make sure I have the count correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, is 4, city affirm, 1, city affirm with 60-day stay. That's our vote for today, city affirm. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for
Thank you.
your participation and patience.
Thank you.
And I don't know if Supervisor Green has any additional hearings today. If he doesn't, he's free to go.
Mr. Green, you excuse.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay. Alrighty, Mr. Schroeder and the other council, please excuse me. You also excuse unless you have other matters before the board.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wade, what do we go back to? I think we had a 3 o'clock to call.
Yeah, I think that's the final, there's 2 other matters, I think that one other matter that needs to be called. I believe it's for lack of appearance, but we can call it the 3 o'clock matter first.
No, let's go to the other matter, just so we give the council enough time.
Okay. Case number 55 is the only one I have left.
Okay. All ready?
Case 55, hearing appeal ending 2536. 2035 Waverly Street, Alexander Hagan.
Okay. Who's representing the city?
Good afternoon. I apologize. Amy Skiles on behalf of the city. This matter I should have actually read in the preliminary matters. This is moot.
Oh, it's moot. Okay. Alrighty. So this matter on Waverly Street is moot. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And so that leaves us with one matter that's currently on hold.
Yes.
Yes. Members of the board. Sorry, members of the board, Jeffrey Cohen. If we could just have a 5-minute break and then come back.
Okay. Alrighty. Based on the city's request, we're going to take a 5-minute break off the record. It's now about 3:06. We should be back by 3:15. So it'll be more than 5 minutes. 3:15 will
Perfectly
resume.
fine. Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty.
I thank you, members of the board, Jeffrey Cohen for the city.
Okay.
Actually, if the members of the board remember the RLC contractor's appeal, it was a similar situation where counsel for the contractor who was facing a license suspension was not present, but instead of deciding the matter as city affirmed for failure to appear, the city actually put on the record license violation notices that were not appealed and were thus deemed admitted, and that supported a finding on the merits, and it did so very quickly. And the city actually is in a similar position now. There is a site violation notice and a license violation notice that were not appealed, and they support the underlying action that is on appeal, the suspension for 6 months.
Okay.
That was appealed to the board.
Okay.
So
Now,
with your permission, I can put that on screen.
now we are expecting counsel for the appellant to be present, aren't we?
We were. I don't know where Mr. Kleinberger is.
This seems as though the appellant is on screen.
Mr. Arian
Is-
Kepia, the owner of the PASP LLC, is present.
Yes. Okay, but he has an attorney who is representing his interests. Okay, let's do this. Mr. Wade, would you mind reading this in? And Mr. Cohen, we did say to his counsel earlier today that we would we held this case until at least 3 o'clock so he could rejoin us because he was at another court, and so we want to do what we can to be flexible. However, Mr. Wade, read this in, then we'll get officially started and see where we go with this. Okay.
This is case number 3, hearing appeal ending 1221, 2331 East York Street.
Okay.
Arian Pashapa.
Okay. Mr. Cohen, is there any value in having matters read into the record and then continuing it, or are you expecting that we would reach a conclusion today?
The city was respectfully requesting a conclusion today. Just as an offer of proof, the reason why the city moved to suspend PASP's license for 6 months is because PASP hired an unlicensed subcontractor for a job that involved excavation. That unlicensed sub hired another unlicensed sub, and the second unlicensed sub caused a collapse of the next door property at 2329 East York Street. And the SVN that I was mentioning earlier is for that collapse, is excavating below the level of the adjacent foundation. That SVN has not been appealed. So
Okay.
that is deemed admitted.
Okay. Okay. So, let me do this. I'm going to ask for an executive session with Mr. McSherry to get some advice on this, Mr. Cohen, and we will be back with you shortly. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Cohen, you have a witness that we need to swear in?
Yes, Kenneth Paralak, supervisor at AIU.
Mr. Parrott, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Paralak. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you. And representing counsel for the appellant, put your name on the record, please.
Zoom off. Richard F. Kleinberger III from firm of Kleinberger Nussey, here on behalf of Bellin.
Okay, thank you. Sir, do you have any witnesses today?
It would just be my client, the owner of the company. If there's going to be any witnesses, that'd be Ivy Privity, who's here. I believe I see somewhere.
He is.
Yes, it's me, Richard. Carry on.
If he's not going to testify, I'll wait till if you called him, then I'll swear him in. Then I was just trying to get that out of the way. Okay. We will proceed with Mr. Cohen and Mr. Kleinberger. Of course, if you need at any moment to confer with your witness, please let us know. We'll put you in a breakout room so that we can move this along as smoothly as possible. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Cohen, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Paralak. If you could please tell the board how many years you've been with LNI.
8.5 years.
And in what capacities?
So right now I am the audits and investigations supervisor, and I was previously the court inspector for 3 years before this position.
And as part of your duties for the Audits and Investigations Unit, or AIU, have you reviewed the records of AIU's investigation into the work site at 2331 to 33 East York Street?
I have.
And I'm going to share the city's exhibits packet on my screen that's previously been emailed to the board and to the appellant's attorney. Can you see the exhibits packet that's on screen?
Yeah.
I'm going now to the document on page 3, Exhibit C1. What is this document?
It's a commercial building permit.
For what property?
2331 East York Street.
And if you could tell us the date it was issued?
11/30/2021.
And who's the contractor on the permit?
PASP LLC.
And just for the record, any highlighting in this or other documents is not in the originals. It's been added for emphasis. Is this a document that LNI keeps in the ordinary course of its duties?
It is.
Who enters the information that goes into this permit document?
Permit services.
And is that part of their duties?
It is.
Scrolling down now to this page here, on page 6, Exhibit C2. What is
Now,
this?
Mr. Cohen, you really will have to magnify that for us to even begin to try.
I will. I just want to get into the record the authentication of the document.
Yes.
This is the general notes section.
The general notes section of what? What document?
Of the blueprints.
Were these the blueprints submitted with the application for this permit?
It was. It is.
And I'm going to scroll down to page 7. Is this a close-up of the site safety section under the submitted plans for this permit?
Yes, it is.
And if you could read the parts that are highlighted under the site safety section, please.
It is the responsibility of the general contractor and or the contractor listed as the licensed entity on the building permit per the municipality to ensure all site safety requirements are in place and followed prior to, during, and after the commencement of the construction process. They are also responsible for any unsafe conditions caused by or related to their subcontractors' work. It is the sole responsibility of the licensed contractor to ensure that all site safety measures are in accordance with the governing authorities.
So were these plans submitted by the appellant as part of the permit application that was then approved by LNI?
Yes, they were.
I'm going to scroll down to page 8. It's been pre-labeled as Exhibit C3. Actually, I'll scroll to page 9 as well. What are these two photographs on pages 8 and 9?
The first photograph is pre-construction. It's 2329 and 2331 East York Street. The 2329 was the Key Pizza, and 2331 is an empty site at the time.
Well, just to point out for the record, in the photo that's on page 8, the 3-story building to the left here on the corner, is that Key Pizza?
Yes, it is.
And then immediately to the right of that, this lot here and this 3-story building next to it, are those 2331 and 33 East York?
Yes.
And what's the date of this photograph?
April 15th, 2022.
And are these two photos on pages 8 and 9 records that L&I keeps in the ordinary course of its business?
Yes.
And is it part of the duties of the photographer to keep or to photograph these bird's eye view photos for L&I?
It is.
And scrolling down to page 9, what's the date on this photograph?
April 8th, 2023.
What is different in this photograph compared to the one a year ago?
2329 is no longer standing, and 2331 is a full basement, full poured concrete walls.
So what happened?
The excavation at 2331 caused 2329 to collapse due to removal of soil and lateral support.
And did the investigation that IU, or actually, let me back up a second. What happened immediately after the collapse?
What happened after the building collapsed into the site on top of the excavator.
And what did AIU do in response to this collapse?
Wrote violations. Issue violations, I'm sorry.
Well, prior to issuing the violations, did AIU initiate an investigation?
Yes.
Thank you. So as part of the investigation, did AIU collect any video from anywhere on East York Street of the collapse?
The bank across the street.
And if the board will indulge me, I'd like to attempt to share on my screen.
Yes.
Moment. This is always tricky because of bandwidth, but can everyone see the video that is currently there, the screenshot that's currently being displayed?
Yes.
Supervisor, what is shown in this screenshot?
An excavator.
Where is the excavator located?
2331 East York.
And just for the sake of the record, is that in the upper left-hand corner of the video?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to play the first section of the video. And Supervisor, if you can just describe what is going on in the video.
So the excavator is removing earth from 2331 that was up against 2339 or 2329, I'm sorry, and moving it over to 2335.
What do the approved plans call for? For the excavation specifically?
It calls for sheathing and shoring in the rear, in the front and in the rear, and underpinning along the whole site on 2329 East York.
Was there actually, at this point on this date, September 14th of 2022, was there underpinning along the entire side of 2329 East York Street?
No, there wasn't.
Could you describe how much or what percentage of the 2329 East York Street side was underpinned by this point?
It was the rear portion of the building. It was just a horseshoe.
Okay, I'm going to pause the video here. So when you say horseshoe, what parts of the lot are you talking about?
So it went across the whole back of the site, came down a partial portion of 2329 and a partial portion of 2335.
So what portion, if any, of 2329 side was not underpinned?
I believe it was 2/3.
Was it at the front or closer to the street side of the site?
Yes, the front 2/3.
And is that where the excavator is digging in this video?
It is.
All right, I'm going to continue playing the video. And what is the excavator doing right now?
He's pausing. He stopped digging at this point. He's slowly moving. Now the building collapses.
Okay, and what's visible in the video right now?
The whole building collapsed and there's a dust cloud.
If you'll indulge me, I'm just going to allow this to play until the dust settles a little. Okay, and now what's visible on the upper left-hand side of the video frame?
You could partially see through the dust, the excavation. The excavator is still there. And it appears that the building's on top of the front of the excavator. Still very dusty.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing the video on my screen. And I'm going to return to the city's exhibits packet. Did L&I's contractual services unit go to the property at 2329 East York Street following this collapse?
It did.
I'm going to go now to page 10 in the packet. It's actually pages 10 through 15. What are these photographs that are on pages 10 through 15 pre-labeled as Exhibit C6?
That is the 2329 East York Street building collapsed into the construction site of 2331-35 East York Street.
And are these photographs taken shortly after the collapse by an L&I inspector?
Yes,
Is that part of the inspector's duties?
it is.
And does L&I keep these photographs in the ordinary course of its business?
They do.
What is this, I guess, black flat part that is sort of sitting on the arm of the excavator?
That's the roof of 2329.
And I'm going to scroll down a little bit to page 11. Actually, no, sorry. Here we go, page 13. What's happened to the roof on the arm of the excavator?
It's collapsed onto the arm of the excavator and sheared into two sections.
Sort of like the excavator acting like a knife to the roof, falling on it,
Yes,
cutting it into two.
correct.
I'm going to scroll up a little bit to this photograph. What, if anything, can you tell me about the site that we see in the photo?
That the building in 2329 is collapsed into the site of 2331, 2333. The excavator arm is still in the excavation where it was removing the soil, the lateral support from 2329.
Did AIU investigate into who was operating the excavator?
They did.
Who was operating the excavator?
Angel Ragadello. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Is it R-E-G Regalado?
Yes.
Who hired Mr. Regalado?
So Mona Construction hired Dimension Construction to do the excavation, and Dimension hired a day laborer, Angel, to run the excavator.
And was the excavation that was along the non-underpinned part of 2329 sidewall, was that according to the plans that were approved by L&I?
No, it wasn't.
So what was the cause of the collapse? Or what did AIU determine was the cause of the collapse, I should ask?
So bulk excavation of the the front portion of the structure was completed without the proper underpinning and shoring.
And was there a site violation notice issued because of this excavation?
There was.
Scrolling down now to page 16 in the packet. What is this document that's on screen?
That's the site violation notice for excavation, remove lateral or vertical load support.
Was this SVN ever appealed?
It was not.
Before you move on, what was the date of that SVN, Mr. Cohen?
Oh, we haven't read it into the record. Sorry.
Oh, okay,
What's
sorry.
the date of on this notice? Sorry,
September 14th of 2022.
And who is the party held responsible in this notice?
PASP LLC.
Scrolling down, just marking for the record, this is the notice of intent to suspend contractor's license that actually bears the board's stamp of having been received as part of an appeal. Was the underlying determination in the site violation notice part of the rationale here in this notice of intent to suspend?
Yes, it was.
And scrolling down now to page 21 in the packet, this is exhibit C9. What is this document?
This is a licensing violation notice.
What's the date of this notice?
2/18/23.
And who was it issued to?
PASP LLC.
And was this notice appealed?
No, it was not.
What led to the issuance of this violation notice?
The collapse of 2329 East York.
What are the cited violations in this notice? And hold on, there we go.
9-10047F, hiring unlicensed subcontractor Wheeler One Construction. 9-10047F, hiring unlicensed subcontractor Mona Construction. 9-10047F, hiring unlicensed subcontractor Dimension General Construction LLC.
And just for the record, Mona Construction and Dimension were the ones that you'd mentioned were sort of the chain of subcontractors that hired Angel Regalado?
They were.
Okay, thank you. If you can continue with the citations of violations.
9-10047B, deviating from approved planes, failure to shore or bench along sidewalk or rear as required by the geotechnical soils report.
Is the geotechnical soils report part of the application for the permit?
It is.
And is that considered part of the approved documentation for the permit?
It is.
So for the record, what is shoring or benching?
So, well, benching is, so when you're excavating, you don't dig straight down. You would dig in a step-like pattern. So you would go down 4 feet, move over 2 feet, go down 4 feet, move over 2 feet, go down 4 feet. That would be benching. It all depends on whether it's A, B, or C soil on those requirements. It could be 4x4. It could be, so it all depends on the soil type. That's benching. Shoring.
So why would someone do benching at a site rather than digging straight down?
To prevent soil collapse.
And I guess it says here, failure to shore or bench per the geotechnical soils report was one of the violations at this work site?
It was.
What's the next cited violation?
9-10046F, failure to comply with the Philadelphia Code, failure to adequately safeguard a neighboring building as required by Chapter 33 of the Building Code.
Was that also relating to the, well, actually, let me back up a second. Does the failure to adequately safeguard refer to the shoring or benching that would have been along the front and rear sides?
It does.
Scrolling down now to the next page on page 22, what are the further cited violations in this document?
9-10046F, Contractors should comply with all provisions of the Philadelphia Code. All workers performing duties at a construction or demolition site, regardless of their position, shall have completed a course of OSHA 10 training and carry the card at all times. Angel Regalado claimed to have an OSHA 10, never provided proof.
Now, he was the operator of the excavator.
Yes, he was.
And what is an OSHA 10 card?
It's a 10-hour course of OSHA training that every worker has to have on site. And one person needs to have an OSHA 30 on site also.
Was there anyone on site on September 14th of 2022 with an OSHA 30?
No, there was not.
Was there anyone supervising Mr. Regalado on September 14th?
No, there was not.
Was there a special inspector on site supervising the excavation on September 14th?
No, there was not.
Was this license violation notice appealed?
No, it was not.
Sorry, scrolling down now to, you'll forgive me, this on page 25, this is the actual Blur appeal form, but I'm scrolling past that. On page 29 in the packet, what is this document?
This is the Master Independent Contractor Agreement short form.
Who provided this to AIU?
This is part of the application documents, I believe.
And what's the date of this agreement?
This is September of 2022, the first day.
So 13 days before the collapse.
Yes.
And who are the parties to this contractor-subcontractor agreement?
This is Mona Construction Group, LLC.
And the appellant as the general contractor?
Yes.
Did Mona Construction have a contractor's license when this document was created?
No, they did not.
And then was there a further subcontractor that Mona hired to perform this actual excavation work?
There was. Dimension.
Oh, thank you. We can skip those. Page 35 in the packet. What is this document that's on screen?
Geotechnical Subsurface Investigation Report.
And is this part of the application materials we were talking about before for this construction permit?
It is.
And now I'm scrolling down in this report several pages to page 41. If you could please read the highlighted portion relating to shoring and benching.
Based on P&A's understanding of the proposed project, shoring or benching will be required along the current open sides of the property faces of the excavation. This includes the rear yard of 2329 and 2335 East York Street.
And we previously said this is part of the approved plan.
It is.
And was this done?
No.
And scrolling down here to page 42 in the packet, if you could please read the highlighted section of the geotech subsurface investigation report.
The contractor should be aware of the following. Special inspections of the excavation is required to ensure that the actual conditions conform to the approved permit drawings.
And as you said previously, was there a special inspector on site for this excavation?
There was not.
Actually, scrolling down to, you'll bear with me one moment, I'm going to jump around a little bit to page 53 in the packet. What is this document that's on screen?
This is the Statement of Special Inspection Schedule.
Who files this statement and with whom?
The engineer of record, and they file it to license and inspection permit services during the application phase.
And does this set out what the special inspector is actually going to be inspecting on site?
It does.
And just for the record, this is the 2331 to 33 East York Street site?
It is.
And scrolling down one page to page 54. What did the special inspector say that they would do about the excavation and filing or filling phase?
So it's checked off excavation, existing site soil conditions, fill placement, load bearing requirements are required by James Clancy.
But immediately beneath that, did he make any check marks of continuous or periodic inspections during the excavation and filling phase?
He did not.
And actually now scrolling up to page 50 in the packet, just for the board's information, this is a code bulletin that refers to, it's essentially L&I interpreting the law as it applies to excavations and the protection of adjacent property. And I just wanted to point out to the board that on page 52, which is part B sub 3, where an excavation is 3 feet or less from an existing building, special inspections shall be performed by a licensed engineer to ensure that conditions and protections conform to the approved permit drawings. Supervisor, was the excavation along the 2329 East York Street wall exactly 3 feet from that existing building?
It was.
So would a special inspector be required per this code bulletin?
Yes, it would.
So does the lack of a special inspector on site constitute a deviation from the approved plan?
It does.
And does the lack of shoring and benching also constitute a deviation from the approved plan?
It does.
And did AIU determine, or what did AIU determine was appropriate, given these issues and violations for PASP LLC?
A 6-month suspension.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. If I'll present him for cross-examination and stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kleinberger, any
I
cross?
have no questions for this witness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any additional witnesses, Mr. Cohen?
No, thank you very much, Supervisor. I would like to move into evidence the following exhibits. Exhibit C1, which is the building permit. Exhibit C2, which is the excerpt and close-up of the approved plans for that building permit. Exhibits C3 and C4, which are the before and after photographs, the aerial photographs. Exhibit C5, the video from the bank across the street. Exhibit C6, the photographs taken later that day after the collapse. Exhibit C7, the site violation notice dated September 14th. Exhibit C9, which is the license violation notice that followed the AIU investigation into that collapse. Exhibit C11, which is the subcontractor agreement between PASP and Mona Construction. Exhibit C14, the geotechnical subsurface report. Exhibit C15, the code bulletin. And Exhibit C16, the statement of special inspection schedule.
Okay, any objection, Mr. Kleinberger?
No.
Okay, so admitted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kleinberger, your opportunity.
Yes, I'd like to call Mr. Ariana Peshkipa. He's on
Okay,
the screen.
Ms. Peshpika, my apologies for mispronouncing your name as Peshkipia. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Well, please place your right hand, sir, so you may be sworn. Do you swear or
Yes, sir.
affirm? Do you formally swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I swear.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kleinberger?
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me? Ariana, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, good. Can you please state what your position is with PSP LLC?
So I am the owner of PSP LLC.
And how long have you been so? How
Sorry?
long have you been the owner?
From the creation of the company, 2015.
You heard the testimony regarding the property located at Revere Street, is that correct?
York Street.
York Street, I'm sorry, York Street, I apologize, York Street.
Yes.
Okay. Were you familiar with the area of 2329 and 2331 East York Street prior to beginning the excavation work?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you become familiar with this area?
I have the client reach out for this project that they wanted to develop.
Okay, and what was the extent of the project? What was the scope of the project that you were hired to do?
It was to build a commercial mixed-use building, 3-story with basement, with 4 residential units, a commercial space in the first floor and in the basement.
Okay. Did you, at some point, did you have to apply for demolition of the building?
No, it's not a permit that we can apply like a general contractor. There are special companies.
So what did you have to apply for to begin this project?
We apply with our subcontractors, that is Plato Architecture Studio, apply for the zoning and building permit for this project.
Okay, I'm not clear on the response. Maybe you could rephrase the question.
I will. What applications or permits did you have to apply for? I'll go back 2 questions for this project, sir.
Yeah, zoning and building permit.
Okay. And specifically, what were you contracted? Strike that. What did you subcontract it out for this job?
Everything that to realize the project based on the design.
Okay. And who created the design?
No,
who I'm asking you who did?
Plato Studio.
Who is that, sir?
Plato Studio.
Would you spell that, because I'm not picking up the pronunciation?
Plato Marinakos Studio. P-A-L-T-O M Marinakos, M-A-R-K-O-S Studio.
Okay, thank you.
And did they prepare the site safety plan?
No, we didn't have a site safety plan. It was not required from the city.
With regard to any subcontractors were hired, did you hire a subcontractor to do the excavation work?
Yes.
And who did you hire?
It was Weller One.
Could you say that again, sir? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Weller One. W-E-L-E-R-E-1. O-N-E.
And were you aware when you hired the subcontractor that there had to be both shoring and benching of the area when it came to the sides and perimeters where the other buildings existed?
Everything that it was in the construction plans, we follow up them.
Okay.
In the construction documents.
Did you provide a copy of these construction documents to the subcontractor who was doing the excavating?
Yes.
Okay. Was it your understanding that there was also work being done next door to the property?
No.
Okay, so it's just, you were just doing work on this specific area on York Street that is described. You were not doing any work anywhere else, correct?
I didn't understand the question.
You were only doing work at 2329 and 2331 East York Street, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you said you provided the subcontractor with the details and requirements when it came to both the shoring and benching, is that correct?
We provided him the full set of the documents from the city with the stamp of the city approved.
Okay. When you hired the subcontractor, did you ask for a copy of their license?
Yes.
Okay, were you provided a copy of their license?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear the testimony that a company by the name of Mona Construction was doing work on this property?
Yes, this was at the end of before the collapse happened, about 2 or 3 weeks before. The same guy that we hired, that is Alberto Soares, he asked us to change the company from Weller One to Mona Construction for personal reasons.
Okay, do you know what those personal reasons were?
No, he didn't tell me, but he told me that we can use now my other company, that is Mona Construction. And
Was this other company, Moda Construction, how long did they actually perform work at 2331 East York, if you are aware?
it never changed. It was the same guy that was Alberto, and the same lady in the office that we were getting correspondence with her on the same, in both names, It was not a changing of company there on the site or something that we couldn't see. That happens a big change, kind of machines or kind of.
Was there any indication to you that there was any difference between the people that were working on day one as opposed to the people that were working on day two from the subcontractors?
No, we don't have idea. We didn't check like.
Okay. With regard to Dimension General Construction, did you hire Dimension General Construction to be a subcontractor?
No, we didn't have any idea about this company until we got the paperwork from the city.
Okay, so when you say you didn't have any idea until you got paperwork from the city, what paperwork from the city are you referring to, sir?
About this case, when they told us that another company was involved.
Was there any indication from either Wheeler One Construction or Mona Construction that they were going to hire Dimension General Construction?
No, we didn't have any kind of information about it.
Okay. With regard to Wheeler One Construction, did you check to see if they had a license?
Yes.
And did Wheeler One have a license?
Yes.
Okay.
We have previous project done with the Wheeler One in the city of Philadelphia.
I'm sorry, this is the reporter. Could I ask the witness to repeat that response?
Can you repeat your answer, sir?
Yes, we have done previous work with Mona Construction, previous this project on city of Philadelphia.
Wait a minute.
Wheeler One, sorry.
Yeah, okay. I just want to. So
Yeah,
you've done.
Wheeler One, sorry, yeah, because.
Okay.
So you previously used Wheeler One, is what you're saying?
Correct.
And Wheeler One did have a license?
Yes.
Okay. With regard to the shoring or benching along the sidewalk and rear, those plans were provided to whom? Were they provided to Wheeler One?
Yes, but in the plans there are not shoring and benching and no underpinning on the left side where it was a pizza place.
Can you explain that, sir?
So in the plans, we have it only to do underpinning on the right side of the building, that it was the 2335 building. And we did this underpinning on the right side based on the plans approved. And we didn't have any detail, or not any detail, but any shoring, not shoring, but yes, shoring and underpinning on the left side of the building.
Okay. One of the violations that your company is accused of is deviating from approved plans, specifically failure to shore or bench along sidewalk or rear as required by the geotechnical soils report. Did you, go ahead, sir. Did you specifically follow that?
The technical report gives recommendation for the structural engineer to provide the designs. And we don't have nothing on the plans and on the designs that show this. And we are open to see where these details are that we didn't follow up. And what I wanted to explain is that until the day that the accident happens, we have 8 inspection from the city of Philadelphia. We have initial inspection. We have 3 special inspections, 3 inspection from the city of Philadelphia for the underpinning on the right side. And we have 2 more inspections for the foundation work, because the foundation work has been done on the rear part of the building, left side and right side. And we didn't have there any underpinning or any shoring. And we never got any violation for this one because we follow up the plans. We are checked from the special inspector, that was James Clancy, for the rebars and for the concrete forms and for the existing soil conditions. We got past this inspection from him, and we got past the inspection from the city of Philadelphia. On the same time, we passed the inspection, the 8th inspection, that it was for dam proofing of the rear wall, and we backfilled the rear wall. And we didn't have any violation during the entire time, during the entire process of the 50% of the foundation done in the rear. And the only violation that we got, it was because on the first underpinning round, the inspector, the engineer, the special inspection agency, it was the engineer, was not on the site during the visit from the city inspector. But he was there during the day. We have the photos of him on the site. But this was the only violation on in total 8 city inspection from city of Philadelphia.
Okay, you said there was three. So you said there was 3 inspections, sir?
No, it was 8 inspection from city of Philadelphia and 5 special inspection from the special inspector agency, that was Jim Clancy.
And when was the last inspection done prior to the unfortunate collapse?
The last inspection, it was when we did the dam proofing on the rear wall. I need to check the date here, and let me see one thing. I have all of them from city of Philadelphia, all the inspection with outcome of pass. And let me see, 902 inspections. Yeah, the last one, it was September 2, 22.
September 2nd?
Yes.
Okay, and that was of what year?
2022.
2022. You said that there was a total, I believe you said 8 and 5 inspections that include both the special inspections as well as the regular inspections. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct. 8 from the city and 5 from the special inspection agency.
Okay. And at any time during those 8 from the city and 5 from the special inspection, was there ever any indication that the either underpinning or the benching was not being done properly?
We are not specialized on this type of work. We are not licensed on this type of work, and we didn't have any type of
No, but were you ever told that you were doing something improper?
No.
So it's a total of 13 inspections?
Correct.
Okay. And the Master Independence contractor short form that was made part of the city's exhibit, that was between you as contractor and Mona Construction as subcontractor, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and again, who, to the best of your knowledge, is the owner of Mona Construction Group?
It's Alberto Soares, based on my knowledge, but it's not.
We will need you to spell that first and last name.
Yes. ALBERT is the name, and SOARES is the last name.
Thank you.
And was it your understanding that that individual was licensed to perform this excavation work in the city of Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay. Was there any time over those 13 inspections that were done between the period of June of 2022 and September of 2022 that there was any stop workage orders given by the city of Philadelphia?
No, never.
Okay. Was there any time that you were cited for any violations regarding the safety in which the process was going forward between June of 2022 and September of 2022?
No.
Okay. I have no further questions this time.
Okay, thank you. Any cross, Mr. Cohen?
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Peshkapia, is that correct?
Yes.
So you were talking about Weller One construction, and you said that Weller One had a contractor's license. What
Yes.
was the contractor's license number?
I don't have it in my mind.
Well, we can look it up. Let's, if you'll indulge me, I'll share my screen. Do you see on screen the City of Philadelphia's Eclipse system? You have to answer yes or no, or some other answer.
Sorry?
Do you
Yes.
see on the screen the Eclipse system? And does it say public trade license search?
Yes.
So how do you spell Weller One?
W-E, let me check how, L-L-E-R space O-N-E.
Okay. Just to double check, I've entered in exactly as you spelled it, Weller One,
Mm-hmm.
and the search found no information matching that criteria. Is that correct?
Yes.
Let's also try W-E single L-E-R one. I'll do another search.
Yes, it's Weller One Construction CO. Probably, can you check with this?
Well, we can do Weller One construction. Like that?
I think it was two W's he said though, wasn't it?
It's
Two L's?
yes.
I'll put another L in. Is that Weller One construction?
So then,
Here,
yes.
I'll hit search.
Council,
So-
just to save time, I'll redirect, so I don't have to go back. Could you just check off where it says show active only to see if there was an active one
Okay.
at one point? Thank you.
Oh, yes, sorry. So,
Mr. Cohen, in all
Yes.
fairness, he mentioned that Weller One had a dash between Weller and One. Can we just do that in all fairness?
Weller dash one.
Yes, thank you.
So at this point, Mr. Peshkapia, would you agree that the city doesn't have a record of a contractor's license for Weller One?
No.
You wouldn't agree with that after having run these searches?
Yes.
All right, I'll stop sharing my screen. So you mentioned that Alberto Suarez was working for Weller One, and that in September 1st of 2022, he told you we're going to switch to this new company, Mona Construction. Is that correct?
Yes, pretty much, but not the date. The date is when we completed the paperwork.
I'm sorry,
Listen,
for the record, could you repeat that answer?
Yes, please. Your connectivity is becoming a problem.
So you mentioned,
Yes, but it is not the date exact, because the date is the date when we did the paperwork. So it's not the date when we discussed about changing the company. Maybe it happens 1 week before.
and at that point, did Mona Construction give you a contractor's license number for the city of Philadelphia?
And they provided us the proof of insurance, the workers' compensation, but I don't remember if they provided us the license for the city. Yeah.
I'm going to share on my screen what had been previously marked as Exhibit C9. Do you see this on my screen?
Yes, I see, but I cannot read it, but yes.
Oh, sorry. So this was previously entered as a license violation notice. Supervisor Kenneth Paralak from L&I spoke about it. But you see here these first two violations, specifically citing PASP LLC for hiring an unlicensed subcontractor, Weller One, and then hiring a second unlicensed subcontractor, Mona Construction. Correct? Do you see those on the screen?
Yes, I see them on the screen. Yeah.
So then it would make sense that the city of Philadelphia is maintaining that Weller One and Mona did not have city of Philadelphia construction licenses when work was being performed at 2331 East York Street, correct?
Yes, I understand this.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You saw earlier when the city put up the approved plans for this permit, it said under the site safety section, essentially the general contractor, PASP, is responsible for everything that goes on at the site and for the actions of the subcontractors, correct?
Yes, this is correct, but the regulation from the city was not the right one.
Sorry, could you please repeat that? The last part of that sentence got garbled.
Yes, I read, yeah, I understand it, but the city regulation was not the clear one.
So it's your opinion that the general contractor is not responsible for the work that the subcontractors are doing on a site?
Yeah, based on the state regulation, when the foundation permit is directly gave to the foundation contractor, based to their regulation, when the building permit need to be provided with excavation monitoring plan or a pre-construction survey. I think that it was a big missing point in the city of Philadelphia how to regulate this this very delicate process of foundation process. So probably you know very well that in 2023 and 2024 this regulation changed completely.
Did the court reporter get all of that answer? Just making sure.
No, sir.
Okay, sorry, could you repeat that?
So my point is that it was a gap in the Philadelphia law about the foundation and excavation process. Now, this excavation process, foundation process now is regulated by law. Then when you go to get a building permit, is the excavator company who can apply for having the excavation permit and not the general contractor. And they need to provide an excavation plan that it was not part of the requirement from City of Philadelphia. They need to provide a monitoring plan in order to check during the construction of the foundation, during the process of the foundation, and they need to provide a pre-construction survey plan that is related to the building in the left and in the right of every new construction. And all of these requirements were missing on this time from City of Philadelphia, and this created this gap of, hiring probably unlicensed subcontractor in the middle of the work and something like this.
So it's not your fault or your company's fault that there was an unlicensed subcontractor performing the excavation, it's the city's.
I can say that the building next to us got a MHSA violation. That is one of the most dangerous violation, the most restrictive violation in the city of Philadelphia in July 18. And the building next to us never got any kind of paperwork in the windows that they need to stop work. It was a pizza place there, and that was doing activity in an unsafe building. The building itself, it didn't show in the plan, in the photos, that it was full of star bolts in the entire facade, and they were probably more than 10 years there. The entire side of the building was cracked there. If you see in the pictures before we started the excavation, on the party wall, if you see in the picture that you show where the existing building was before we started the work, were two big openings for the exhaust for the hood for the pizza place that were open not correctly on the party wall, that it was not supposed to be open. So everything now, based on today's laws, it's 100% regulated with the new laws. On the time we applied for the permit, none of this regulation was applying, and this, for me, created a big gap in this situation. The most biggest issue in this case is the unsafe building that never got told to us. One day before the call, this was eminent danger. Next day, we were free to work there. My company still have the permit to do work on this close to this unsafety eminent danger building. So for me, it's a big gap on the city of Philadelphia law for this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peshkapia. If there's any redirect, Mr. Kleinberger?
No, just with regard, one question that I was looking through with the spelling. You did hire Weller One, and that was WELER1, correct?
Yes.
And at the time that they were hired, they were licensed. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
And in fact, the notice of violation from the city of Philadelphia states that at some point during the work, the license became expired. Is that correct?
No, we don't know.
You don't know if it did, but that's what the notice is. The notice is not that you hired an unlicensed, but that their license became unexpired during the time, correct? So when you hired them, was the license valid?
Yes.
No further questions.
Okay.
Actually, I do have one more question based on that, just to plug a particular hole, and I'm going to share the same public trade license search on my screen again. So I think we went over Weller One, WELER space 1, WELLER space 1, WELLER-1, but I don't think we've gone over WELER-1.
No, it's not dash, it's Weller with WL1, separate construction CO. This is what we have in the insurance proof of the company.
Well, we've done this search, right? And if, you know, I hit the search button, WELER space 1, no information. So you'll agree now this is WELER-1. Is that what's on screen?
Yes.
No, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't need to be the dash there, but
well, we'll run the search anyway, just to be thorough. So you would agree there's no information found?
You're doing active again. You're doing active.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Kleinberger, you're correct. Ah, okay.
Yeah, now it's coming out, yes.
So expired October 4th of 2021. So you'd agree that that expired before September of 2022 when this excavation was taking place?
Yeah, this I'm telling you, these separate jobs with the Weller One, and they were licensed in the city of Philadelphia. This was not the first job with them in the city of Philadelphia.
But yes or no, the expiration date here reads October 4th of 2021.
Yeah,
yes or no?
read there, October. Yeah, it's yeah.
Thank you. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions of Ms. Peshkapia?
Yes, I have a question as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Tennant?
Yes. Mr. Cohen, could you bring back up the exhibit which has the engineer report by Mr.
Absolutely.
James Clancy?
The special inspection statement?
That's correct.
Okay.
And could you scroll down to the check boxes indicating the inspections? Existing site soil conditions, excavation and filling, and underpinning are continuous. Okay, so my question to Mr. Peshkapia, did you read this report, sir?
Yes, we submitted to the city. Yes, we got this
So,
from the.
So you received this report, you read it, and you submitted it, correct?
Not me personally, but the company we hired for.
Okay, but you hired someone, and when it comes to conditions existing with special inspections, you read none of the material at all, or you left that responsibility to the general contractor?
No, we gave this to the specialized company. All of the companies that we hire were licensed. We hired Theta Studio, James Clancy. We hired Eric Paulson, Paulson and Associate. So all the companies that we can call subcontractors, they were all licensed on this.
So you did not read this report or any reports submitted to the city?
Yes, I read them, but
so it's right here. It says existing soil conditions, continuous, and underpinning continuous.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. My other question is the make safe order of the building next to it. You said there was a make safe order for that particular building, yet you went and did the underpinning work there without getting verification how safe it was. I'm just trying to verify, is that what you said?
Yeah, it was a make safe order for the building next to us in the left side. It was not for the not on the time that we did underpinning, because underpinning has been done on the other side, not on this side of the building.
So the make safe, go ahead.
And this make safe, we're supposed, I was explaining that is the most danger violation that you can get in city of Philadelphia. You can get a building permit for the make safe, or a make safe permit is called, in 3 days or maximum in 4 days, because it's a very danger. The preparation of the plans for a make safe permit are done only from a structural engineer, not from an architect, and not from any other engineer.
Yes. So that building was 29. Am I right? 23, 29 had the make safe order on it?
The place that's collapsed. Yeah.
Right. Was that complied before you started your work? Did it come into compliance, or you don't know?
They never took care, as we know. We didn't know about this violation, because if we know about this violation, we were not there working, because it's not only for them a danger like a building, but it was the same danger for the people that were working next to it. And I don't think that for 1 month the people still were working under this space on the first floor on the pizza shop and serving the people. And thanks God that on the second and third floor they were not in good condition for this season, was not rented, because probably the conditions were very bad on the second.
I understand. So you didn't find that strange that with that particular work that you are speaking of, that you would still go ahead and conduct your operation?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
You didn't find it kind of strange that they were doing that type of work and you began your project there as well, right next to it?
We didn't know. We find out all this after the collapse happened. If we know this, I didn't allow anybody to work there, because I can tell you one thing, that the next day of the excavation in the job site, we're supposed to be 9 guys to do the forms, the metals, and so. And thanks God, it was a time when the pizza shop was closed. Because
Thank you. I have one more question. In reference to your testimony that there is a gap in the laws requiring foundation law regulations for excavation, you're saying there was a gap in the city's law, but this report right here clearly talks about site soil conditions and underpinning continuous. So there may have been a new law provided, but this report tells you what you need to do there while it was on site in 22 while you started to work.
So if
I'm just pertaining to this report, the check off in this report, sir. But you didn't read that, so I understand. All right, thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Washington, you had it. I think you answered already. I think. Mr. Washington, Mr. Washington, do you have any other question? Do you have a question?
Should I stop sharing my screen?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen.
I don't think I answered.
Oh, wait, we've got too many people speaking. Mr. Pescapa, please, just for a moment. We had another question from a board member, Mr. Washington.
No, Mr. Tennant hit it right on the head, so I'm
Okay.
for all my requests.
Okay. I do have two questions. There, the violation notices that were written. Did you appeal those violation notices?
All the violation we got are after the collapse of the building.
Okay. Did you appeal?
We appealed the one that we are that we are doing today.
Okay, so you didn't appeal the SVN regarding the contractors without permits, without licenses. Okay.
Yeah, this is something that if it's without license, it's without license. We cannot. It's on the record of City of Philadelphia, and we don't have any doubt on what they have on the records.
Okay. Okay, so you didn't appeal that. Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions from anyone?
Just wanted to ask my client to finish, if you could finish the answer he wanted to say regarding the.
Okay, Mr. Kleinberg, I just wanted to be that he's responding specifically and not narrative discussions for 10 minutes.
Correct.
Commentary.
Sir, did you review the soil reports beforehand?
Yes, I reviewed the soil report, but soil report is not for the general contractor. Soil report is report prepared for the specialized company to prepare the footing on the drawings. We don't go there by and if we have it something real from this report, it will be on the inspection from the city. It will be a violation for us, a stop work order, because we are not following what was on the plans that they follow up.
And did you review the engineering report?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And did you provide both of those reports to the subcontractors?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Okay. I would ask this, then I'll ask for closing comments.
Chairman,
from...
I actually would like to recall Supervisor Kenneth Paralak only
Sure.
to speak to the very specific issue of the unsafe for the next door property.
Okay. Please.
Supervisor Paralak, you've been previously sworn. Are you aware of a couple of months before the collapse, an unsafe violation that was written up for the Key Pizza place at 2329 East York Street?
I'm really not prepared for that. I don't have that information in front of me.
Can you review L&I's records and could you, after review of those records, answer?
Yes.
Then we'll take a moment. And if you could review the records for 2329 East York Street, specifically that unsafe that Mr. Piscapia mentioned.
Now, in the meantime, is it okay if I proceed with my question of Mr. Piscapia?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was interrupting a question from a board member.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Piscapia, you are a general contractor?
Yes.
And so when a property owner hires your company, are you the person they rely on for the quality and the completion of all work?
Yes.
So if there are any warranty problems or any issues, they call you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so all the contractors who worked on this project, the plumbers, the electricians, the excavators, etc., were all hired by your company, correct?
Yes.
Okay. As a general contractor, are you permitted to take out an electrical permit?
No.
Are you permitted to take out a plumbing permit?
No.
If there's an electrical problem or plumbing problem on the site after construction, who does the owner call? You?
The owner calls me, but City of Philadelphia calls
Okay, well, no. That's you answer, you respond, the owner calls you. You may call
Yes.
other people, but the owner calls you. So as a general contractor, you're responsible for all work, quality of work, the state, the type of work, etc. on a construction site, correct?
Correct, but not 100% correct, because if you see that the foundation quality, it's based on the city, not only to the inspector of the city, but to the special inspection agency too. So,
But in terms of your company and the liability coverage that you have and all the other general practices in the construction industry, the general contractor is principally responsible for all activity on a construction site.
not from the City of Philadelphia.
I'm not asking that.
Okay, from the owner, yes. Yeah, correct. From the owner, yes, but from the
Okay.
city, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Cohen?
Thank you. Supervisor Paralak, have you had an opportunity to review L&I's records?
I have.
Specifically for 2329 East York Street, was there an unsafe violation case created in July of 2022?
18.
I believe so. I believe they had to have star bolts put in, but I don't have that information in front of me right now.
What did L&I say or cite was the issue that was unsafe?
But I believe it was the front facade.
So not the side wall that is adjacent to 2331 East York Street, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. If Mr. Kleinberger would like to do any cross?
Yes. Is that the only violation that existed for that property that between June of 2022 and the collapse?
I believe so.
Did you look into other violations or just the one that you were directed to look up for?
I pulled up all the violations. That's all I could recall at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for Supervisor Paralak.
Yes.
Whose responsibility is it to hire special inspections agency and engineers?
The general contractor.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
Thank you. Okay, what I would invite then, I believe we've gotten all the testimony we need on record. Mr. Kleinberg, if you have any final argument, I'd appreciate that. And after which we'll hear from Mr. Cohen before we decide on this matter.
Thank you, Chairman. Our argument being that at the time that my client hired the subcontractor, and as he testified to, while as a general contractor, in theory, there is the responsibility when it comes to the insurance coverage and overall overseeing of a project that is their responsibility. At the time he hired the initial subcontractor being Weller One, he was under the impression that a license did exist and that the license was valid at the time. It did not have knowledge, unfortunately, that Mona Construction, who was the subsequent company by the owner of Weller, was not licensed to perform the work in the city of Philadelphia. However, going back through the testimony of my client, I don't believe that anyone disputed this. There was a total of 13 inspections done. When you look at both the special inspections as well as the regular inspections of the property during the time between June and September of 2022, and there was nothing noted, cited, or pointed out by anyone that there was a problem with regard to the underpinning and shoring or benching of the areas surrounding, or even going back to the 3 foot as recommended in the engineering report. I do believe that if these inspections, again, no one's disputing these inspections occurred. One would surmise and common sense would dictate that over a course of 13 different inspections, if something was being done improperly, it would have been pointed out. It does seem that this, unfortunately, could have been a perfect storm of the issues already involving the pizza parlor. Even though it's not on the same wall where the collapse occurred, we're talking about an individual building that's being held there. We don't know, and there was nothing presented into the testimony as to what specifically caused the collapse. What we have in the testimony is that the collapse occurred and that there is a assumption that it may have had something to do with what was going on. Just because somebody may have been unlicensed that was hired by the subcontractor does not mean that my client did something wrong. And again, going back, I believe I would have a totally different argument or no argument at all if it was not for the 13 inspections that happened during that time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cohen?
Thank you, members of the board. I think this board is well aware of the reasons and purposes for why these laws exist. The requirement to hire a licensed subcontractor isn't just because they have a piece of paper issued by the city. It's because if they have a license, they have insurances, they have training, they are accountable. And that's just not the case here. where you have PASP and Mr. Peshkapia, who are operating very hands-off, who are taking no responsibility for hiring a contractor, Weller One, who was unlicensed at the time the building permit was issued. Weller One's license expired October of 2021. The building permit was issued at the end of November of 2021. So already he was unlicensed. And then afterwards, shortly 2 weeks before the collapse, the subcontractor shifted from Weller One, the unlicensed sub, to Mona Construction, the unlicensed sub, which hired a further unlicensed sub, which hired a day laborer, who then just from the video alone, you can tell it was the actions of that excavator that caused the approximate cause of the collapse. And it didn't collapse forward, which is what you would expect if it was a front wall issue. It collapsed sideways, which is what you would expect to see if there is an undermining of the lateral side support. So everything in the record shows that it was the undermining of this side support that caused the collapse. Of course, the board does not need to take my word for it. There was a site violation notice issued for that exact violation that was not appealed. So that is deemed admitted. It is deemed admitted as part of this record that the removal of lateral support caused the collapse. It is also deemed admitted from the failure to appeal the license violation notice from February of 2023 that there were unlicensed subcontractors hired, that there were deviations from the approved plans. And I would like to note, less so for the board and more for PASP, if plans are approved, L&I expects them to be followed to the letter. Unless there is an official ruling or an official determination from an inspector that you can do a minor deviation from a plan, if it's in the plan, it needs to be followed. And that's for, in this case, it's very apparent, that's for safety reasons. Because not doing the benching, not doing or doing excavations that are not according to plan below the level of the next door foundation, those are all conditions that were ripe for this collapse to happen. So the reason why the city is seeking to suspend PASP's license for 6 months is in recognition that PASP's business practices must change. It is not conducive to public safety in this city to have a contractor who refuses to take responsibility, refuses to follow the site plans, and hires unlicensed subcontractors. Those violations must not be repeated. And hopefully after serving the 6-month suspension, they won't be. Thank you very much, members of the board.
Thank you very much. We will now poll the board on, excuse me. We will now poll the board on HA-2023-001221, 2331-3 East York Street, Aaron Skiba, PESHKEPIA, doing business as PASP LLC. City affirmed?
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Thank you. That's a unanimous vote of city affirmed. As you know, Mr. Kleinberger, you may appeal our decision. And so we appreciate your participation and your patience as we get through this complicated matter.
Thank you for
Okay.
accommodating my schedule. Thank you.
Yes. Have a good afternoon.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Your witness is excused, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Okay.
have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Wade, what else do we have on our calendar for today?
That's all I have.
Okay, that appears to be the complete list of items to be addressed today. So today's hearing is now closed. We're now off the record. Thank you very much. Everyone have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Have a good weekend.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Could I just see us in executive session just very briefly?
Oh, okay. Okay.